everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Richard Lewis Show. I'm your host, Richard Lewis, of course. Sam's pressing the buttons next door to me. That's how he's rolling. Let's start the show by talking about what happened last time we started the show, because, you know, again, I'm all about transparency, all about lifting that veil, right?
Breaking
so
that third wall.
yeah, so there was some tech problems, wasn't there?
I mean,
on the last show.
I think you call her a false start. I don't know about a tech problem.
Yeah, I think so. And basically,
Although, actually, my microphone being one-sided, I ain't take blame for that one. That's mental, mate. How was I supposed to predict that? My mic just having a fucking mono out of nowhere.
True. But anyway, what you're doing there is that's what we call in a political business deflection, Sam. You're deflecting, see, because what really happened, Sam? Why was there a tech problem on the last episode of the Richard?
I was bred when I met, obviously. What do you think? How do you think I'm living out here? What do you think I'm doing a date? I bought a dartboard, and what I do is I have a bong it, and then I play darts, and then I go to bed.
So what I did was, right, for Sam coming out here, I basically went and I was like looking around all the dispensaries in Vegas, and I was kind of like looking up who sold the strongest weed, and I found the one that sells the like strongest THC content, and I went out and bought, I don't know, like $300 worth of it or whatever, just to tide Sam over for the first few days that he was here, right? So anyway, he's basically fucking come out, been on that UK bushweed, been smoking fucking garbage, you know, probably at about 10-15% THC if you're lucky. And then he's come out and he's done these big man hits. And yeah, that was why the show was an absolute clusterfuck last time, because it didn't go straight to the brain. No, you haven't even told the best bit though.
What parts are? I was
you just started getting scared. You had to talk yourself down.
What do you mean? All right, yeah. Before the show, yeah, I was like, I could feel myself getting wrecked. I was just sat here going. So while I was doing that, I didn't check the main scene, so I didn't check to see if everything was set up. Turns out we weren't, mate. Then I checked this volume mix. I couldn't find Discord. The fear hit me, but taken over by the fear, as Lily Allen once sang.
Yeah, he was like, he was saying to me, he was going, fucking hell, like everything's breaking. And I was saying to myself, it's okay, Sam, take control. You can fix it. That is your job. That you are hired to fix it when it breaks. So
yeah,
just
figure it out.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's why that went down.
Your camera needs to clean, by the way. Give your camera a wipe.
Oh, is it dirty? Is it?
Yeah, there's some specs on it. Like,
oh, it's probably just me spitting on it like a fucking ape. What am I gonna do?
Do you want me to bring you some kitchen roll, like?
Yeah, might be something you could do.
1 second.
I mean, I'm looking around on the floor. I don't know why I'm looking on the floor. Like, just nothing on the floor, is there? Just floor. Oh, have I locked the door? Fucking hell. It's another car crash, Sam. Get in the fade. We'll cut this out in post there.
Nah. Nah. Close the door.
Yeah, you're in charge of doors, isn't it? Hang on. It's like being me fucking
What
gran.
are you eating, Bounty, mate?
Am I eating Bounty?
Yeah, that's what that's called, isn't it? Bounty.
Oh, this? Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the chocolate bar, mate.
No. Who eats Bounties?
I like them, me.
Loser.
They're called Almond Joys out here. They're called Almond Joys out here. People don't like them.
Why are they called Almond Joys? It's coconut. Those
I know,
completely different nuts.
Because it's America, isn't it? They're mental, aren't they?
Me.
They're just mental.
That can't be real. They call Bounties Almond Joys when it's just a different nut.
Yeah, for real, like. I think it has an almond on the top.
But it's got coconut in it.
Yeah, but it's a Bounty with just an almond put on the top.
Sound. That's probably how they go around the copyright. Didn't have to fucking import it then.
Yeah, probably.
I think you find out Bounty's got a fucking almond on top.
Yeah. So how's that? Is that clean enough for you, Sam?
Yeah, it looks better. Well, there's still a bit specky on the bottom, I'm not going to lie to you. I am a bit of a stickler, like. Oh, mate, I wouldn't know you'd say that the camera's lagging when you're next door. Like, fucking give us a hand. Maybe we should just run the cable straight to my PC, mate. It would be easier.
Do you reckon?
I don't know if we do it now, like. I don't know. There we go. Well, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's clean.
No, but I don't know if you're lying or not. Is it clean?
Kind of.
Fuck me. What have I done to it since the last show?
It's just like, for me,
I can't even jet that high, Sam. I'm too old. I just had my birthday.
So, I don't know. It's like catching light a bit. It'll be fine, mate. I'm sure.
He's probably catching light off my fucking spit now.
Yeah, let it dry. Let it dry.
Whatever, fucking.
Cover
Who
it
cares?
in
No one
rice,
wants to
mate.
look at my
Cover it in
fucking face
rice.
anyway. Just had my birthday, Sam. Old
Yeah.
now.
Of course.
Yep. Fucking feeling it, feeling my age. Graying the beard. Back's a nightmare. Can't get in and out my sofa. Old, of course. Miserable. You haven't been much support.
What do you mean, man?
I expected a pep talk.
Yeah. What do you mean?
That,
I
you know,
did.
you're only as old as you feel or whatever.
Get who am I, Mr. Motivator, man?
Yeah. But you didn't do it.
Get up. Well, we went for a drink, mate, in the daytime.
That's
Came
true. We
home
did have
wrecked.
that ridiculous Vegas afternoon drink, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, where we were immediately in bed by 6 p.m. or whatever it was. Well, I wasn't.
Stayed
I
in
was in
bed.
here. I was in here playing Dota with my mates, wrecked out my fucking mind.
Stayed
And all
in
of them saying, I've never heard you this drunk. Yeah, I'm fucking shit-faced. Like, trying to play Dota. Trying to play Dota. You went straight to bed.
Oh,
you
right.
went straight to bed. But anyway, yeah, so look, I'll tell you, it does motivate me, Sam, whether it's my birthday or otherwise, and that's my awesome sponsors, .com. Loving me. Love the way that they let me get away with anything, do anything, say anything. I love the way that they stuck with us even when YouTube tried to jam it in my ass for the millionth fucking time. Still haven't got my play button.
Never.
Update. Just an update, Sam. Still haven't got my play button. Still having to beep out my sponsor, my only
I
sponsor.
know, mate. Why?
for
No one
YouTube.
else in the world does this apply
Well,
to.
no one has
Always
to do it.
straight beeping. I mean, the thing is, we could stop, but who knows? Then they kind of, because they've said it once now, Nate, so they can fall back on it. Well, I told
Yeah.
you to fucking beep it out, mate. So that's you banned for life.
I know, innit? That's the
Criminal
madness.
scum.
Because I agreed to it as well, see?
Yeah,
I did the thing you never do. I agreed.
yeah.
So, whatever. But, great. If you like esports, which, by the way, I don't. Shit in it.
If you like esports, you're a mess. But I've got something for
Yeah.
you.
I mean, I've been trying to get out of this fucking business for 15 years. It's shite. It really is. Everything about it is shite. The fans are shite. The games are shite.
What is this?
Players are shite. It's all shite.
So shy.
But,
Just an update.
you know. But if you do like esports and you want to place bets on it, because the one thing that it isn't shite for is basically exploiting for your own ends, which is what everyone does. So maybe you can do that on a micro level by, you know, placing bets on games by having like just a modicum of knowledge. You might want to do it at .com. Unlike a lot of these other gambling websites that are out there for esports that let you bet in skins and crypto and all this other shenanigans, they actually let you withdraw your money when you win. So that's a big selling point, I think. So if you want to sign up and support them, they're great. Love them. They do great content on the website too, by the way. You know, some good articles you see up on there. Go over to .com/RLS. That'll tell them I sent you. And that means I'll get a kickback. The brown envelope comes under the, you know, under the door. Yeah, you sold out your morals and your integrity, Richard, for big money. Good on you.
Here's your slice of the organ donations, Richard.
Yeah, and then I go out to fucking China on the Activision Blizzard organ junket fund, and it's all good, isn't it? You know, no one cares, eh? No one cares. It's just another day. Just another day in esports, lads. Right. Anyway, let's get funny. Let's
What do you mean?
get funnier. Yeah, no, let's do some bits. I've got some goofs.
Go on.
Right. Well, where to begin, Sam? It's tough to actually know where to start the show. Lots of news going on. We're gonna have some didn't happens.
Nice.
We're bringing them back. We're gonna do some. Well, on top of didn't happens, we're gonna take a look at LinkedIn.
Right.
I think people need
That's
to
a
see
new
what shit
segment,
because
is it?
LinkedIn is wilding out, mate. And there's a great account that everybody should go and follow for it. But let's just start with, I think, a positive, upbeat story, right? Like on this show, one of the things we talk about a lot, animals, right? We do talk about animals.
Yeah.
Usually, you know, we're talking about Sam beating up animals, which he's never actually done. You've
Nah,
never hurt an
never
animal,
will.
have you, Sam?
Every time we talk about it, these are robot animals, of course, so don't feel pain.
Yeah,
Or they're
it's
trying
all
to kill me.
theoretical animals.
It's not like I'm usually fighting animals harder than me. Like, I mean, I don't think
Yeah,
anyone's
true.
upset if you beat up a bear. Like, fucking bear had to come in. Like, if I'm battering a bear, surely I deserve to. If he gets.
Well, I mean, yeah,
close.
the bear just shouldn't let you win. Obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, you know, if we're not talking about animals and fighting, we're usually talking about creepy cunts having sex with animals. And just recently, if you've noticed on the podcast, we've had a spate of stories about animals having loads of sex.
Yeah, there has been.
Which I'm deliberately doing as part of a Facebook-funded psyop to make my incel audience feel massively insecure and see if it leads to an increase in people going to shrinks. I'm feeding back the data as it happens now, guys. That's correct. Even animals are getting more sex than all of you. You fucking incels.
How do you feel?
Yeah.
Scumbag.
Shit. just putting it out there. But anyway, there's one. We've had a cat that fucked itself to the point of dehydration. Then last show, we had a duck that fucked itself till its dick fucking had to be amputated. A big floppy, swollen, bruising dick that wouldn't retract up into itself that he kept stamping on with his big duck flippers like whack, 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 my dick, whack.
My dick.
Well, now the king of animal fucking.
Didn't know Dust was
This show it's just garbage. This show, like I don't even know what
Dust
I'm doing. Who's listening to it? Yeah. He's in the audience as well. What are you doing?
He's in the audience. Come
in the
on
audience.
down.
He's out there. He's in the seats. You thought you were here to watch a podcast. Instead, it's now a roast about you. No. But anyway, there was right now. I don't know if you know this, but there's some tortoises on the Galapagos Islands.
Right.
Were facing extinction. Right? It was really bad. There were just, of this particular species, there were just 2 males left and 12 females. Right? Now, tortoises live forever.
Yeah,
they do live a long time.
Almost, yeah.
But this one guy called Diego, and he's from the Chelenoidis hudensis subspecies.
Right.
From the Espanola Island. He took it. He said, "We're not getting extinct.
Never me.
We're not. I'm not letting it happen.
Not when my dick's swinging.
Yeah, I can fuck my way out of this." He said, "I can fuck my way out of extinction," and so he did. And as it says here, he had sex so much the population is now 2,000 tortoises, and he's said to have fathered about 800.
Fair play, man.
800 kids. He was just knocking them out, and then he would sit around. He'd wait for the other ones to get old enough, and then bam, he'd stick a fucking. Well, it's not a bun, is it? They have eggs, don't they?
Yeah, but hasn't he fucked it? You saying he's got incest turtles? Like, are these turtles or tortoises? Tortoises.
You can't
Surely
really.
That fucks the bloodline. No, I don't think.
Look,
that's good, but...
mate. Haven't you heard of Adam and Eve? We're all in bed.
Haven't you heard of Adam?
Yeah, Happy New Year, everybody.
What do you mean, mate?
What are you talking about?
Of
course,
I'm taking Adam and Eve as fact, mate. That ain't
no, but I mean, like, obviously it's not. But if you think about it, there had to be like a small subspecies of whatever genus of primate we were.
Yeah, but
and they all had to fuck each other repeatedly to expand and proliferate to this fucking weird ape that we are. So obviously there was a ton of inbreeding going on. You're just gonna have to own up to it, mate. You're just gonna have to face the past. You know, and it's nicely encapsulated by Adam and Eve. It's a simple concept. Even fundamentalist Christians can get it. You know, like we all had to go back to to a limited gene pool. That's just. Sometimes, probably some of these things are good and some of these things aren't so good. Just saying. But anyway, Diego.
The Genghis Khan, the fucking tortoise.
Mate, 800. 800 kids he's knocked out. Look at him as well, by the way. Can you bring his face up?
Yeah, his face. Is that him, like, or is that just a random tortoise?
Mate, he's like 100 years old as well, by the way. Like.
Look at him.
What a fucking boy.
Diego
What
fucks,
an absolute boy.
Diego fucks.
You think about it, right? Like, the average person, when they're about, like, pushing 100, they can't even knock out a wank, can they? They're fucked, like, They're just...
Can't even
just
knock
grateful
up
to
a
be
meal,
here.
mate.
This guy's fucking still out there.
Look at him eating and fucking as well, mate. Probably just had a jet.
Mate, he knows. He knows. He
Get
knows.
His fucking, get his water back in.
Yeah, he's pausing for that picture. Yeah, believe.
Look at me. Stiff
It is the
neck
same
and
size as this
sticking his
neck and head
neck out,
combination as well. So absolute fucking legend. I love tortoises as well, by the way. Good creatures.
cool.
Yeah, they are cool. You know, I get worried about them because of the whole, you know, the rumor that once they're on the back, the fuck, that isn't real, though, is it? That's like a myth, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm sure they could. It depends, I guess. Let's have a look. Can tortoises turn off?
As they have to be able to. You couldn't make a creature that can't do that.
Yeah, they
right?
can, but it takes a lot of work. So I guess there is a chance that if he keeps trying, he'll get so tired that he's just like, "Fuck it, I'm dying." Then
That's sad, isn't it? What a way to go, like.
that is
Just
rough,
fucking, just unacceptable, man. But anyway, so there you go. No one's beating that. No one. There isn't a single animal that we're going to cover on this show
Big
that's
up
going to,
Diego.
yeah, that's going to beat Diego when it comes to the sex. Just not happening. So that's a good place to start the show. While we're talking about sex a little bit, I mean, this show's a mess. Like, it's really bad, Sam. You have to understand. It was just all the disparate parts of all the leftover bits that I didn't do on other shows. I was just like, fucking hell, there's like 500 links here. I'm going to fucking spin this together. So all the links are tenuous. This is like the most tenuous show of all time. Right? But anyway, you know how sometimes things get lost in translation, right?
Right.
And you have, you know, like, you know, when you translate something from English and it sounds, you know, acceptable, and then it goes into Chinese and all of a sudden it's mental.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, McDonald's have made a bit of a mistake out in Japan, really. They've definitely fucked up on this one. I double checked this as well because it's not a source I usually use. I don't go to Sora News, whatever the fuck that is. It's like apparently news for weebs. But anyway, there was a new dessert, right? Called the Otona no cream pie,
Sorry,
which translates as adult cream pie in Japanese. And they've just gone straight to, they haven't even checked it, Sam. They haven't checked it with anyone in the English department, the Japanese, right? They've just said, yeah, well, all of these words are fine independently of one another. Adult cream pie, this is all fine. And they've just said, just make them. What's it say? Mushy,
print
mushy.
the posters.
Mushy, mate. No, mushy, is hello, innit? That doesn't mean hurry up, does it? I've just made that up because it should do. Mushy should mean hurry up. It's perfect for that. Anyway, so they just made these fucking adult cream pies, which are available in regular cream and chocolate, by the way. And no one's noticed it. Now, the worst part is the advertisement, right? Which has a woman in it who's called Sensei, and obviously senpai as well, meaning like senior. So we're already getting into some like words you've heard on the internet, and the younger woman looks up to the older woman who's like the teacher, and says, "That cream pie, is it really that delicious?" And the teacher turns around and says, "If you eat it once, you'll be filled."
Fill it.
So, you know, all things said and done, mate, there's been a bit of a fuck up over at McDonald's Japan. I think it's one of those things that you're just gonna have to keep that to yourself. You know, you're just gonna have to keep that and not think too much about, you know, what's going on. You're playing the advert as well.
Yeah.
Look,
I didn't play with sound because obviously, you know, I don't think
No,
a lot
no,
of
yeah,
people
don't.
here speak Japanese.
Mate, the fucking perverts we have in my chat, they'll be. You don't want to do that. You'll just. It sounds like a million zips being unzipped all at once. Like, yeah, just fuck that. But anyway, I just couldn't believe that. Couldn't believe that they sort of overlooked that one. You know, some things do get lost in translation. Now, the reason this leapt off the page to me actually is one of the worst things that ever happened to Counter-Strike, right? Was this tradition of the custard pies.
All right, yeah. The talent,
You know, everyone has these pie bets, and I'm amazed they've took off and become such a big part of. Because I'm a bit of a bar humbug kind of cunt. Everyone knows that. Like, I'm not having a good time if people are having a good, fucking custard pie fights. Like, I'm sorry. Like, we need to do that in the 1920s. It is just grow the fuck up, right? It was funny when it happened to Moses that one time because he was unbelievably creamy.
Yeah,
like, that was
he
just
didn't want
hilarious.
it.
Like, yeah, and he
why
folded.
am I getting cream pied over a bullshit bet? How's he even got it right?
So that's reasonable, but but this idea that it became this running bet. But one of the things that I think is amazing that the Counter-Strike talent pool have got away with is they do continually refer to it as cream pies. They say it all the time on a broadcast. They sit there and they go, "Well, why don't we have a bet? Put a cream pie on it." And I'm like, lads, lads. We all know what you're doing. We all know what you're really doing there. And they say it all the time. I don't know if, maybe this is like a blind spot and subconsciously people don't know. Maybe people have forgotten that they're doing this. But just go watch any of the classic Counter-Strike custard pie, episodes. And go watch it. And they're all saying it. And I'm like, what the fuck is like
creamy Moses? Well, you get creamy.
Let me tell you, when you're on an esports show, right? The stuff that gets picked up on in the back room in production, like you're about to play a clip and it's like, I don't know, one of the fans, and they're called like Mr. Penis or something, like and you fucking stop, and people pick up on that shit. And then it just goes over to Henry, and he goes, "Right then, lads, favourite part of the show coming up, a cream pie." I'm like, fucking get me out of this. Like, this is ridiculous. We got, between Dick Stacey and now this, it's no wonder esports isn't taken seriously.
How will the mainstream ever accept this?
How do you expect esports to grow with childish larking about like this? It'll never grow. It's only had unprecedented growth for the last 10 years. But Henry G saying cream pie is the last straw.
Lost all respect.
Lost all respect for Henry G. So, yeah, anyway, you have that. There was also something else that I thought was just a ridiculous thing. I do like to have a look at true crime stories. The things that people send to me to cover on the show. Right, you can tell how demented your audience is because, like, no, serious. You'll get one or two, right? That'll suggest something like cool and interesting, but occasionally you just get a wave of messages. So I had a load of emails. Richard, when are you going to do a show on Iran? Like, tell you what, lads, let's just dial that one down for a little bit. Although it is hilarious that, apparently it was World War III a week ago. Must have missed it. That World War must have fucking swept me by. But, so it was Iran. And then the other thing, right? So this shows the priorities, was this story about I literally got sent this about 20 times. So this was obviously in Florida. God's fucking blind spot, as I like to call it. Seriously, we need to get together. Like, Trump has a lot of bad ideas. He was kind of onto something with the wall idea. He just put it in the wrong place. You don't put it around Mexico. Mexico's fine. You put it around California and you put it around Florida, and we've just fixed the United States. There you go. Vote for me. I'm going to get my citizenship and I'll run on that campaign. And we'll give California to the Chinese, and we'll just make Florida like a fucking like that movie Escape from New York. It'll just be a prison complex. It's a lawless place, and you just go down there, right? And everywhere else is fine, But California and Florida are out of control. Anyway, I must have got sent this like straight up 20 times. This is a story. Florida man wakes to find burglar sucking his toes.
Mate.
It's so beyond
Oh
a
my
fucking
God.
joke. This is
They swab the victim's toes for DNA.
they have
Just gonna
to.
swab your toes. Mate.
Right. This is in Bradenton, A Florida man woke up on Christmas Eve to find a burglar. Merry motherfucking
Christmas Eve, mate.
I know, mate. It's unreal. Like, you've just fucking, right, wrapped all the prezzies, get up tomorrow. I fed the gator.
Jingle bells.
You go to
jingle
bed and you just
bells.
lie in there. Wow, what's that? Oh, fucking hell. And there's just a man in
Go
your
away,
house
dog.
sucking
Dogs.
your
I don't
toes.
want to get up yet. Leave it alone.
So anyway, when the Bradenton resident asked the stranger what he was doing in his
What
house.
do you mean? As if that's your first question, mate.
Oh,
You wake
I'm
up, someone
just saying
sucking
this.
your toes. What are you doing here, bud? What do you mean? Why have you
Listen,
even asked these men?
I'm just saying this. I'm pretty sure it's cases like these. This is what the Castle Doctrine is actually for.
What are
Like,
you
just
even
fucking-
doing here?
Right, mate, can you just unhook your mouth from my toes? Blow! Officer, he was reaching. I don't know, like, you know what I mean? It's absolutely insane, isn't it? Like,
Mate,
there's
I
just a
can't
man sucking my
imagine.
toes
You
in
must
my
have been
bed.
so
like.
scared, though. But woke up. What are you doing here? Imagine asking
No,
that.
but
What are
actually,
you
do you want to
doing
know what's
here?
mental? It makes the story more real, because if you ever just,
Yeah,
you know when
you're
you just wake up, it's like when someone wakes you up with a slap and you go, what?
It's like
You know,
that
you
Vine
just-
but where they pull
Yeah,
water in
you-
that girl's face.
yeah,
Hello. What are
Yeah.
you doing here?
Hello?
Oh.
Yeah, like he was just out of it. So anyway, he said, "What were you doing in my house?" And the stranger said, "I'm just here to suck toes."
At
According
least
to
he's
him,
honest, man.
no. Listen, he's got his MO. He knows what he likes.
You know.
A fight broke out, and during the struggle, the suspect tried to grab the victim's genitals and claimed to have a gun, although deputies said no weapon was found at the scene. The victim eventually forced the man out of the house, but deputies say the suspect smashed one of the home's windows, as well as the windshield of the resident's car. The Herald reports that investigators swabbed the victim's toes for DNA and tried to track the suspect with a police dog, but the alleged
As if he's got away
toe-sucking
with it,
burglar
mate.
escaped.
Mate, if they can't catch the fucking toe sucker, like, how are they catching anyone else? You can't catch a wild fucking mess sucking toes in the wilderness at 3 a.m. Like,
You know, he's fucking got away with it, hasn't he? He's got away with it.
believe he's lived to tell the tale. Like,
But yeah, everyone was, oh, you got to talk about this on the show. It's like, you're fucking deviants. Y'all need Jesus. It's like they're all just fucking on this like toe-sucking news website.
toetips.com, man.
Yeah, they were just
Welcome
there,
to
like,
Toe
fucking-
Tip Offs this week.
What? Oh God, he's one of us. Has he got away? There's like a whole underground network keeping the toe sucker safe.
Someone's got him in their house right now, mate. Fucking harbouring him.
Yeah,
You can
exactly.
stay in my room.
But anyway,
don't suck it.
just as an aside before we get back to stupid crime, this is why I said this before. Like, I know what my audience is about. You sending me fucking news stories about people breaking into houses and sucking toes, like some mad, demented wish fulfillment of you out there. Or like, I can't get away from it anymore. Can I? My audience is sick, twisted. I'm just stuck with them now. We listen. We did a great job. We weeded out the bullies. We weeded out the bigots. You know, we even weeded out most of the furries. Right? That was a joke because they're not all the same, but fine, we'll muddle through. Please say psych. Right? But the one thing I can't ever get rid of is the fetishists. They're just not going anywhere. I know they lurk on my Discord.
Sucking toes.
Right. Yeah, talking about feet, talking about this, talking about that. And it's unacceptable. Well, anyway,
Anime, manga, toes.
I want to show you this thing, right? There's now an app you can get. You can go to this website, right? And it will send you
What do you mean? What are you gonna say?
AI generated feet pics.
What?
Wait till you see your butt.
Are they going to be demented?
You haven't even shown him yet.
Me.
AI generated feet pics, right? So they're not real. They don't belong to anyone. It's from a website called thisfootdoesnotexist.com. And you can text it at any time, and it will send you an AI-generated foot pic. So you can just fucking fap one out to the feet. As you can see, it's in the development stage.
Yeah, we're still figuring out how to do 2 feet.
Have you seen that one in the middle?
Mate, what the fuck's happened to that? It reminds me of no one's Spy Kids, but when he's got that fucking mutant machine and he turns him into a thumb head, mate.
Fucking Spy Kids.
Right,
You brought
Spy Kids
to the
head,
foot fetish
mate.
party, mate. What's wrong with you? Fucking degenerate. Yeah, but like straight up, mate. Mate, you're saying Spy Kids. That reminds me of something out of fucking Alien Resurrection, where it's like one of the Ripleys that's in a fucking jar in it. Like, what the fuck is that?
This is what it reminds me of, mate.
That must have been very early on in the AI. But look, you can see another example if you scroll down a little bit. That's a good reference. Like, I appreciate that. Appreciate that. But yeah, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see there's, you know, it's starting to get the hang of it.
Long towing, mate.
Yeah, you know, there is some long towing. But like, I don't like that giant wide one as well. But I mean, it's getting better. I mean, that's almost an actual pair of, you know, identifiable human feet. But yeah, you can sign up to this. There's the numbers on the Vice article. I won't read it out on Twitch. I don't even know what the fucking terms and conditions are. It is a corporate service. You pay for it, I think. I don't know what the end game is as well, by the way.
Yeah, get a list of all you creeps. That's right, man.
Yeah, probably. My advice would be to
for.
not text it because you're immediately on a fucking watch list. You know, it'll just be you and Pokemon subs.
All spamming Papega at each other in a room. Papega.
It's the Queen.
Papega. Thick.
These are the real Queen's feet.
Thick.
But I just couldn't believe it, mate. What is the like? I don't know if I'm a man out of time, right? Or if I've just got some mental health problems. All of the above, who knows? But what's the world coming to, mate? What is the world coming to where people will sign up to get the gimmick is, you know, they're not real. So you know they're not real. And like, who needs a foot pick desperately on the go? Who's there with like who's there with a raging hard on going, I'm never getting rid of this till I get a foot pick sent to my fucking phone.
Generated by AI.
Yeah, now we've got you covered. Absolutely insane. So that was going on. I'll show you another just classic instance of fucking true crime just for the show. Because we'll probably get into some, I don't know, not serious stuff. I can't be asked. We'll cover Iran. We'll cover the war. We'll cover everything. We'll cover it all. Right? But, you know, brevity. That's what we need. Brevity and levity. This is another classic. This is over at St. Joseph County, which is, where the fuck's that? Is that Utah? Ohio? I don't even know. None of the above. Oh, there you go. Close. Right? But anyway.
Indiana, by the way, was muted for the stream. There you go.
Yeah, Indiana. This is unreal. This story is just perfect. It just sums up what's going on in the world today. Like, just being this demented and not really being able to sort of see through it. So the headline tells you all you need to know. Woman wearing FBI hat tells gas station clerks she's with the CIA.
Dafty.
Listen, I'm in the CIA. Ma'am, you're
got the wrong hat on.
jurisdictional. Yeah. Oh, well, I'm in both. I just picked up the wrong hat today. I do the FBI on Fridays.
I cover shifts for the FBI, but I work CIA most of the time, like.
Right. So this is St. Joseph County. Records indicate a woman wearing an FBI hat told clerks she was with the CIA while trying to access an Indiana gas station security cameras. According to the probable cause affidavit, South Bend officers were dispatched to the Go Low gas station at 421 North Olive on January the 3rd in reference to a woman identified as Lisa O'Donnell trying to look at camera recordings. She showed ID, but no badge. When officers arrived, an employee pointed out O'Donnell driving away from the gas station in a white Dodge Charger with no plates. Officer Joseph Stitsworth activated his lights and pulled her over. She told police there had been passing of counterfeit money and she needed to obtain the gas station video. She also said she'd been working in the area for months. When asked who she worked for, O'Donnell responded CIA, but was wearing a hat that said FBI. O'Donnell stated police should run her ID, saying her license would reflect her credentials. Her license didn't, in fact, confirm her status as a CIA agent, officials said. Stitsworth contacted another South Bend officer for reference, and he was told O'Donnell didn't work for the CIA or the FBI. He also said she had taken the Charger for a test drive from a dealership and never returned it. That Charger was reported stolen and then impounded, and she was taken straight to jail. Now, listen, I'm all about, let's have a bit of a pretend in that. Let's make our lives better. But that is mental. That is actually mental. That she has gone to the lengths.
Yeah, she's got problems, man.
I'll just take this out for a test drive. Steals it, gets an FBI hat. What was the footage she was trying to get? I mean, there's so many questions. This story's mental. There's so many questions there. What was she trying to do?
Nah, she's just
what did she think she was investigating? That's what I want to know.
She told me there's counterfeit money going around. How do you know?
And you know what?
I just feel it.
You know what? When you see pictures of criminals sometimes, like the ones in Florida, you look at them and you go, yeah. yeah.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember what was that guy who was the ninja who was doing the kung fu with the massive head? Remember him? Do you remember him?
Steven Seagal.
No. He's got about
guy doing kung fu with a massive head.
Yeah, we did him on the podcast before. You remember he was like a little short fella, but he had just a massive head. He did.
Oh, six head. The people in chat.
Yeah,
six head. And
it's like, well, obviously, and it's like again, like, come on, like, here's another mugshot here, right? Like, you just think to yourself, obviously. Hang on, let me get this for you.
Looking for six head, Drew?
No, I can't find him. He's lost in the ether. Talking about this fella. Oh, it just won't let me paste it to you on Discord for some reason. Just forbidden. This link is just forbidden.
Is it too long?
I don't even know what the fucking problem is. I don't even know. Discord just said invalid link.
What's the problem?
Hang on. I'm fixing this because I've got to show you this. Just so you get the idea of who I'm talking about. Right. This should do it. I've found him twice. There you go.
There you go. Ooh, mate.
That's what I mean, though. Like, I see a mugshot of this fella, and I go, well, of course he's out there committing crimes. Like, of course he's committing crimes.
What's he done, mate? Has he just been fucking dragging his own face through a stingy nettle bush?
I don't even know what's going on, mate. This again. Yeah, he's had a tough time, hasn't he?
Look how small his face is in comparison to his entire head.
Yeah. You would have thought he was committing, like, mastermind criminal crimes, really. Like in a cartoon or something. But anyway, you see a mugshot and you go, yeah, all right, then, yeah. But I would never have guessed she was a lunatic. I never guessed she was out there driving around, spying on people, claiming to be in the FBI, like, stealing cars.
But as soon as she says she's in the CIA, the FBI, then you know.
Oh, yeah, as soon as she said, I'm in the CIA and I'm wearing an FBI hat, like, I'm going to, questions
and
are going to be asked.
And I need to see your videotapes.
The first thing I'm going to say to her if she says that, do you work in esports? I think I've met you many times.
If not, you should get into it. You fit in perfectly.
Yeah, I'm a millionaire, me. I'm a millionaire. Come and join my org. I'm a millionaire. We regretfully close my esports org. But I thought you were a millionaire. Nah, I work as a waiter. Sorry. All lies. Lies the whole time. But anyway, so there was that. I think I got another bit of ridiculous news before we start going into some, you know how it is. The spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
Yeah.
You know how it is. You know how it is. we're definitely talking about
know how
Epstein
it
on
is.
this show. You know how it is. Definitely talking about Epstein. You know how it is.
Piano
You know
wire,
how it
you know what it is.
You know how it is. So there was this story, and I was trying to think why anyone would want to do this, right? Because I'm confused, Sam. Maybe you're a smart fella. Maybe you can explain this to me. So, right, with all the problems that's facing the world, right? With all the problems that are facing the world, I'm not saying you have to, obviously, like, just make stuff that makes all of our lives better. And, yeah, it can't all be curing cancer or curing global warming, or electric cars. Like, obviously, it has to be, like, oh, here's a fucking, sick virtual reality headset or something like that. But I just don't understand why they've made this. So this is a report from Ars Technica. This is a pill that you swallow, and it's an electronic device. You swallow it, and it syncs up to an app on your phone, and you can track how farts are brewing in your stomach and when they're going to come out your ass. This has actually been designed.
Just what I wanted.
Right? And I'm trying to think of why I would need this ever. So you swallow the pill. It sits in your guts.
Does it help you if you've got something wrong with your gut? Can they figure anything out? Fume data. They've called it.
Yeah. No, I read that, but no, it's not really about that. It's just literally it just measures gas build-up and that's it. And you can just track it on your phone.
Fume data.
And it's gone through human trials, and apparently it works. And I'm just like scratching my head.
Intestinal wind patterns and gaseous turbulence from different foods.
I mean, didn't we solve this as kids?
Yeah.
Beans are good for your heart. Didn't we? I think I had a handle on what foods make you fart when I was like 6 years old. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I'm pretty sure I didn't need this. I didn't need this.
Data, man.
Does raise questions as well. Are they saying it's reusable?
Yeah,
like,
true. How long does it last in there? Yeah, you can't stay in there forever. Surely you shit it out.
Well, no. Most people, you pass stuff in 2 days, so it's.
And then you eat it again.
What do you do? Like pick it out, give it a rinse,
get it back down.
Put it back in. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't say.
Seems a bit of a waste. Like just 2 days of.
Oh, there we go. Overall, it took 20 hours to get from one end to the other, spending 4.5 hours in the stomach, 2.5 hours in the small intestine, and 13 hours cruising through the colon. Straight cruising, bruh.
Mate, Vince's autobiography title there.
Like cruising in the colon.
Through the colon. Like. Cruising through the colon. What the fuck is this? What a fucking absolute crap. But anyway, that news brought to you by Beth Mole. Good.
Cheers, Beth.
Big fan.
She's interested in infectious disease. Cheers, Beth. And me.
Obviously.
Yeah, have a good one. Nice one.
All right, then let's start delving into the horror. Before we do, I nearly forgot. The other thing that everyone sent me. So we had toe sucking, the Iran war, right, and Ricky Gervais. Everyone wanted me to talk about Ricky Gervais.
Oh yeah,
because he did that speech.
Yeah.
Which we're not going to play it because we'll just get copyright. Yeah, copyright strike immediately. We may be able to play a clip. I don't know if we can or not, but you all saw it.
You've all seen it, yeah, exactly.
You've all seen it. And, a lot of people, Ricky Gervais, I was like, yeah, okay, good. I mean, there was a little bit of me, right? Like, first of all, I thought it was, one of the reasons I wasn't one of those people who felt the need to rush to Twitter to go, yes, Ricky Gervais is speaking truth to power by giving this incredible, like, roasting speech, but, same thing he's done every other time. This probably did go a little bit further than some of the others, which I approve of.
Yeah.
Especially in these times where comedy's just fucking, in the toilet. But equally as well, it was, he's sticking it to them. He's sticking it to the man. That's Ricky Gervais,
he is
multiple
also the
award-winning, multiple award-winning TV actor, writer, film star, very much in the Hollywood cabal and the Hollywood elite that he's lampooning. I think it's because what Americans have a tendency to do is they hear a British accent. And they even though there's an air of sophistication to it as well, it's kind of like you're removed from American. Oh yes, of course, down to earth British person, And they, it's like with James Corden and all those other fucking people, that's just how they do it, right? But I mean, the reality is, like, it's absurd to suggest that Ricky Gervais is like outside of the power structure and he's just stumbled into the awards and he's just wrecking everybody, because that's not what's going on. It's done by committee. He wrote the script. I doubt very much that he just says, "I'm going to write and say whatever I want," and there's no oversight or approval at any stage. Find that very hard to believe, knowing how TV works. So somebody somewhere has signed off on all of those jokes anyway, and not just Ricky Gervais. But regardless, I got to agree. I thought his speech was pretty good. And what was better than the speech itself, which of course basically says what we know: Hollywood covering up sexual predators, constant sermonizing about how you, the plebs, have to, you must lead less wasteful lives, plebs. Now I'm getting on my fucking private jets to fly down the road because I'm a cunt. It's like, obviously we're sick of that shit. The constant, tedious politics that you have to hear from these fucking celebrities who, as Ricky Gervais said, have spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. But none of it affects you. None of it affects you. We know you give to both sides. It doesn't affect you. It doesn't matter who's in power, does it? You're part of the power structure. You're wealthy, right? You got money. You get to sit down with the politicians that we elect to represent us and have dinners with them. And then you get up and you make speeches and you talk about, oh God, yeah, it's so terrible that the orange man is in the White House. America isn't meant to be this way. And then a photo emerges of you 3 years ago in Trump Tower shaking Donald Trump's hand, and you were happy to go and have a swanky free fucking dinner with him when you had a movie to fucking promote, or he could connect you to a movie producer, or you thought you were going to go on Celebrity Apprentice with him. Oh, it was all fine then. You fucking hypocritical vampires. It's outrageous. So, for me, the speech was something that needed to get said, even if it came from a source that kind of, the call was coming from in the house, So anyway, the reaction to it was better than the speech itself, right? The reaction to it was better than the fucking speech itself, because people just, I don't know, their nose was just bent out of joint. I've never seen nothing like it. To me, right, a bit of just for 364 days, and not even a day, really. Let's also understand this roast took place at an award ceremony to celebrate how over important your work is, right? So it's not even really a fucking roast, is it? It's not like one of them comedy roasts where you just sit in a fucking chair, miserable as fuck, like, while someone comes out and goes, how many wives have you had? Fucking just straight bodying you like a top comedic mind, just wrecking all your insecurities for 2 hours. No, it was 5 fucking minutes of Ricky Gervais calling you out for the cunts that you are. And then you get to go back to accepting awards and patting yourselves on the back. Yeah, I think the magic about cinema is it really helps us get away from the horror of the world. I mean, what we're doing in a lot of ways is it's akin to the relief work of people who go to Africa to help cure Ebola, isn't it? It's like the missionaries in a lot of ways, isn't it? Because what we do is, we don't actually go and do that. We don't do that. What we do is we make you forget about your shit lives, for 2 hours. And all we ask in return is 20 million for a few months' work. I think this is a very good deal, right? So they all get to go back to, aren't we fucking great? Aren't we great?
Yes, Orville.
They couldn't even take a fucking jab to the ribs for 5 minutes out of the most decadent, privileged lives led on planet Earth. Isn't that incredible? They just couldn't bring themselves to swallow it for 5 minutes. Meanwhile, you've got to get up to work, you know. You've got to go down. You've got to deal with that fucking boss who's hovering over you. You know, it's outrageous. So the reaction was just, you know, fucking unbelievable, but it wasn't. And what you start to see as well is, you know, when you talk about power structure, when you talk about the cahoots that everybody's in, right? It's politicians, media, celebrities, wealthy people. You know, of course they all know each other. Of course they all associate with each other. Of course they all serve a common interest. So, and you have to also understand as well, the modern journalist, what was that quote? Was it from Lester Bangs? I think it was.
What's that?
Let me just get it so I get it right, because it was a great quote. Where is it?
What's the general gist of it? See if I can find it.
Basically, he says what they do is they pay you by deceiving you that you belong to the celebrity group. That's what they say. Right. So anyway, I'll get the exact quote. It's way more succinct and perfect. But yeah, go look it up. Lester Bangs. You'll find it. It's a great quote. And it's pretty much what the modern journalist kind of aspires to, right? The modern journalist, you know, has this delusion of fucking grandeur, and they do see themselves as kind of like equal. So what they do is they kind of like run out there, like they fall over themselves to defend, like, you know, the DNC politicians. No! Has there ever been a woman more persecuted than Hillary Clinton? Like, imagine saying something like that and believing it in a world where we know that there are you know, women whose entire lives are led in poverty and oppression and are cut tragically short because of that. You know, and they believe it, and they fall over themselves to write think pieces at these newspapers. Oh, the oppression. They were doing it today with fucking Elizabeth Warren, who came out, and we'll have to do something on the show, maybe tomorrow, who knows, came out and, like, legit, not since the 10 pieces of silver crossed Judas's fucking palm has there been a fucking betrayal. Like, what, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, all pals, right? Progressives, maybe even going to be on the same ticket one day.
Sold.
Shit, man, we need a bump in the polls. We need a bump in the polls. So what the fuck are we going to do today? Well, I know what we'll do. We'll just lie and say Bernie Sanders said a woman can't win. A man with a fucking history, a champion in women in fucking politics, suddenly decided at a dinner party, which, by the way, multiple witnesses have said he didn't even say it, right? To come out to her and gone, yeah, you know bitches ain't shit, though. Who the fuck is he? Is it Bernie Sanders or Eazy-E? And she just puts that out there because she needs a bump in the fucking polls, right? And everyone, and they're all falling over, right? Wouldn't even shake his hand at the end of the debate. Wouldn't even shake his hand.
Yeah, so
and there were people today, Sam, on social media and on Twitter saying, oh, look at the patriarchy destroying Elizabeth Warren. Mate, let me tell you, the patriarchy has fundamentally failed if a man's political career can be ruined over hearsay that he gave an opinion that he thought a woman might struggle to win an election in a fucking patriarchy, you fucking momos. He's agreeing with you, isn't he? You agree with him, and you're contracting him. That's the world. It's ridiculous. But anyway, journalists falling over themselves. Elizabeth Warren didn't lie. She just told her truth. What the fuck? There's no her truth, his truth. There's the truth. And politicians wouldn't know where to fucking find it if you fucking let them by a fucking leash. Like, it's over here, you mad cunts. No, what's over there? What? Money? Bribes? Foreign wars?
Piss videos? Is it a piss video over it?
Piss videos? Russia? Impeachment proceedings? It's garbage, this planet. It's garbage. The meteorite needs to get here. It needs to speed up. It's not coming fast enough. We weren't supposed to get to this point. We've started to devolve. We're going backwards. The meteorite was supposed to fucking reset it all. And instead, we're just getting dumber and dumber. And we just wake up every day and we just, I must rush to protect the elites. The elites need me. A journalist who was only allowed to exist by their good graces. Please accept me. Like, I can't do it anymore. It's bullshit, isn't it? Good question. What's the topic? Yeah, right. Well,
Shut the fuck up.
yeah, we'll get back to it. Yeah, we'll get.
Type exclamation point topic and find
Yeah, exclamation point topic. Fuck up. But anyway, we were talking about Ricky Gervais. I'm sorry. The Elizabeth Warren thing did trigger me off the face of the earth. Because listen, Bernie Sanders will be dead soon, and it's outrageous. It's outrageous. The way he's been treated. And I hope people realize, people say, but you're a Trumper. Obviously not. You're right wing. Obviously not. There was a period where I would say I was politically confused in 2016 because nothing made sense and it warped everyone's minds, and I'm human too, right? I may even have described myself as a conservative, or maybe I think more likely what I said is, who the fuck would want to be liberal? I think that was more an accurate reflection of my thought. But the reality is this: my values never changed. It's just you're looking over at this one side of complete fucking whack jobs and corrupt lying journalists, and then you look over on the other side, and it's like, sometimes you just got to give a fair shake to people you don't agree with. It's just the nature of the beast, But anyway, Bernie was completely fucking wrecked 2 times now by these people that supposedly stand with him. And I hope people what I've been loving watching is all the Bernie bros and all the people that support Bernie Sanders go, the media's lying, look at CNN, they're being biased.
Imagine
what have we been telling you since 2015? It's not about right, it's not about left, it is about outliers to the power structure that is in place, and nobody, and I mean nobody, be you progressive, be you right-wing, will be allowed to change that. Get it in your heads. If you cannot unify behind a common goal of wanting to clean this up with a fucking flamethrower, you have no place at the adult political table. If you want to play fucking tribalism, dollhouse bullshit, have at it. The rest of America's doing it, and people are getting rich while you do it. And they're laughing at you as they feed you lie after lie after lie that you click on and go, what do you know? CNN are telling me everything I already believe. Take my money. I'm politically informed. You fucking idiots. Anyway, back to Ricky Gervais, right? So... Back to Ricky Gervais. So the reaction to the Ricky Gervais kind of story was just, it was beyond a joke, like, because to me, he was mocking the rich and powerful. To others, not so much, apparently. Apparently what he was doing was some sort of, let's just start with this. So this is Mark Harris. Mark Harris writes at Vanity, the premier entertainment magazine. You may remember them as being the publication that produced that unbelievable article where it was a review of the Division 2, and it was just like, Division 2 is like Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson is a white supremacist. I hate Tucker Carlson. Don't buy this game. Brilliant. Love that review. Thank you. Very succinct. Could you tell me what it was? No, just Tucker Carlson. Okay, no problem. So Variety is trash. Like, Variety is like, it's hard to describe really how bad it is. I mean, I think if you poked letters into the side of a stale dog turd and then attempted to read it, I think it would have more merit. But they are the premium entertainment publication. There's no getting away from that. So Mark Harris said, here's my Ricky Gervais problem. I know what the problem is. He's richer than you, more successful than you, more influential than you, and thinks things differently to you, which people like yourself simply cannot accept, and they have to destroy anybody that falls into that particular category by any means necessary. Yes, we have been paying attention. We know that's how it goes, but do tell me more, Mark. I'm interested. So his Ricky Gervais problem, the idea that celebrities are not only pampered babies, but hypocrites who cause the problems they make speeches deploring and should therefore shut up and act, sing, be grateful, is a right-wing talking point and an especially
Since
stupid
when,
one.
mate?
No, mate, this is the reality now. You to point out celebrities are hypocrites by and large is a right-wing talking point, and a stupid one.
Oh, what makes that right wing, man?
Well, you know, I mean, you don't need to really analyze it in any sort of sensible way. I mean, it's unintelligible gibberish typed in a knee-jerk reaction by a frothing journalist what he wanted when he sat down to watch the awards ceremony was a string of saccharine speeches. Orange Man bad. Have you seen the state of the planet? And I would dedicate this to brave Greta Thunberg. Fuck China. Fuck China. Oh, no, I'm not allowed to say that, am I? Because all the corporations are funded by China. Yeah, not allowed to say that, are you? Weird, that. Where are your principles? Just kind of, they just fucking swirl around, don't they? And whenever the wind changes, that's the direction you go in these days. You imagine being like that. Imagine having no substance. Imagine having no substance, like no physical, corporeal substance. Imagine just being a swirling essence of bullshit that is happy to type any contradictory fucking thought that somehow amasses in that essence, swirling around in this fucking cacophony of shit. And that's just how you exist. And you make a living off it. And you're considered important for doing it. Isn't that incredible? So anyway, I mean, it goes on. It's not an act of speaking truth to power or of bravery to attack celebs on that front. Okay. I mean, the idea as well, by the way, that Ricky Gervais didn't draw attention to any serious things when he talked about sex offenders in Hollywood. He talked about the Me Too movement. He talked about connections to Epstein. I think that's important, right? I think that needs to be talked about a little bit more, if anything, considering that. Yeah, exactly. Considering that Epstein didn't kill himself as a mainstream meme, and yet we're all sat around scratching our heads going, yeah, he didn't, did he? No, they think you're stupid. They think you're asleep. This is unbelievably dangerous. I'm going to say this because we're going to get to Epstein. But this acceptance of the fact that Epstein didn't kill himself, it's a fact. He didn't. It increasingly looks like he didn't with every passing day, the fact that it's just so readily accepted as a joke. People are putting it up as Christmas decorations. People are buying sweaters with it on. People are saying it on mainstream. This is a barometer of like how much shit you're going to be willing to take. How whether you want to be like a China where people disappear off the streets, whether you want to be like a Russia where journalists are injected with fucking polonium and just left to die, and everyone goes, yeah, Putin did it, but we can't do a fucking thing about it. If you're willing to just sort of like laugh this off, trust me, they get ideas for the next time. Fucking remember when we offed Epstein and no one gave a fuck? Remember, he was just about to drop a dime with all of that evidence. He was just about to fucking literally expose the entire power structure and all of his blackmail books on people who were trafficking kids on private islands, and we just killed him in a prison cell and then deleted the footage from inside the cell, and no one cares. It's just a meme. This is brilliant. Who are we going to do next? Well, them journalists. The 5 good journalists left in America that actually report on things. Well, we'll just bump them off, eh? Car bomb here. Fake suicide there. No one will give a fuck. It'll just be a meme. And back to bed we go. So it's, I'm just telling you. It's an uncomfortable truth, I guess, but the truth all the same. Anyway, it's not an act of speaking truth to power. It's a tired way of scolding people into silence because you don't like what they're saying, and saying that he's calling out the hyper-privileged is just the same thing in a new guise. You'll never go broke ending a night scowling at celebrities and saying, get drunk, do your drugs, fuck off, which I think were his last words on the show. There will always be people who say, yeah, you tell him, but tell him what? Fuck off isn't the stance. It's a tantrum. Not like what you're having on Twitter, Mark. It's very dignified.
No,
anyway, there were celebrities who used their stage time to say valuable things coherently last night, and others who said valuable things incoherently, and others who talked about themselves. I don't think yelling at any of them is of great interest. Peace. Yeah. It's fine, mate. Like, let's not try and have a bit of fucking normality. Like, let's continue this idea where just because you've been a just because you're a celebrity, and just because just because you can play Mr. Rogers and make me think it's him for 2 hours, right? You get to lecture me on all of the world's problems. I mean, this is a great deal, actually. Please use your platform that eclipses almost everyone else to tell the peons. In fact, is there a way we can get all of fucking, all of the people in America? So it's sort of like jury duty. It is mandatory that you have to stand outside of a celebrity's home while they stand on a castle parapet and say, "Listen, peasants, and let me tell you about the horrors of petroleum." Yeah, absolutely. I'm totally down with this. Tell me more. Tell me more. You make a living pretending to be other people. I don't understand at what point this qualifies you to fucking tell me how to solve global warming, how I need to live my life, how we can fix things politically, how we can fix the economy, what foreign policy should look like. You're entitled to your opinion, but you might want to just hold onto it tightly. Hold onto it tightly before you shout about it, because people don't give a fuck. And the fact that, anyway, that was just one reaction. There was a ton of reactions, mate. I've got another one here. This was pretty funny. This was from the LA Times. I like the LA Times in general, but I couldn't not leave this one off the list, because this is an embarrassing characterization of what was going on at the award ceremony. I mean, won't somebody think of the celebrities? This is Lorraine Alley, TV critic from the LA Times. The Golden Globes mood was already sober thanks to an impeachment, a threat of war with Iran, and Australian bushfires. The last thing anyone needed was Ricky Gervais there telling them they sucked. And we all wept, for the celebrities' feelings were hurt.
You realise the fucking firefighters from Australia aren't in the crowd of the Golden Globes, like? It's not anyone who strugs in who are in the crowd.
You realise that the average fucking Australian firefighter probably thought Ricky Gervais was fucking hilarious as well.
Yeah, it's probably the only thing that brought some joy, yeah.
But let me just assess this statement. So it was already a sober move, thanks to impeachment. The impeachment they all want. The impeachment that everyone was high-fiving and celebrating about. We haven't even done the impeachment, sure.
No.
Yep. Well, he did things that weren't nice, maybe, and it's wrong if you investigate a political rival for corruption, but no one else, only political rivals. Oh, and we've got Joe Biden on tape saying he did the exact same thing when he was vice president, but Orange Man bad, I guess. I mean, I don't even know what to say anymore. It's like reality's no longer an objective. Reality's it isn't an objective state of being.
No.
What it is it is a series of opinions about how you would like to shape the world. You then pretend the world is already in the opposite way, so you can continually argue about how it needs to be reshaped in your image and only the way you want it. And that you're constantly entrenched in some sort of battle for your very existence every single moment of your life. And like I said, it just goes both ways. Both sets of this stupid fucking nonsensical, the culture war. It's not just that, it's everything now. You can't even watch a fucking movie. How does Star Wars become a battleground for that? How does Ghostbusters? How does the Joe Rogan podcast? How does, is this hat racist? I just can't. Like this is just how we live now.
Hash browns.
Just everything is like that. Everything is like that. Anyway, so yeah, let's assess that statement. The mood was sober because of the impeachment they all wanted, a threat of war with Iran, which kind of over in it. I mean, there was listen, if you ever want to just see the state of global politics, let's not even dress this up. They like to tell you that global politics is all about nuance and spies and intelligence and economies, and it's like you're playing this giant game of high-level risk, and you move your troops here, but what if we do, mate? They're having your fucking eyes out. They're having your eyes out. It's not like that at all. Let me tell you exactly what went down with Iran, right? Just in a fucking nutshell. An embassy got attacked, right? America didn't like it, okay, for obvious reasons, but it's happened all the time. I mean, embassies do get lit up all the time by protesters and people lobbing stones and, you know, sometimes worse than stones. And it can get bad, a la Benghazi. And, you know, there has to be plans put in place. Trump just decides, because he's a fucking child, right? We've been wanting to kill that Soleimani cunt for a while. Yeah, like, and haven't we got this just super sick Bond villain level machine that can just, like, literally just send a fucking pure beam of explosions into his fucking body from up in the sky while he's just sat in an airport chilling? Yeah, we can do that, totally. Probably shouldn't, like. Nah, do it. Go on, this will be fucking mint. Go on. Can I watch him? Can I watch him explode? And they did. And it went, beow. This guy blew up. Everyone on Twitter going fucking, oh no, it's like Franz Ferdinand. We're gonna go into another war. Fucking hell, Franz. Nothing like Franz Ferdinand. Like, you can always tell them when Americans talk about European history, they don't have a fucking clue. Don't have a clue. Yeah, well, Franz Ferdinand. Yeah. Shut the fuck up. All right, shut the fuck up, American. Okay, 2 times you come in at the end and you want to talk about it. Nah, fuck up. So anyway. That happens. Oh, we're going to be plunged into World War III. We're going to be plunged into World War III. So then Iran dispatched missiles into fucking, you know, Iraq, US military bases. No one killed. No one injured, even. Because apparently they were just trying to say, like, listen, you know, we can't win, but, like, we'll fuck you up. You know, like that kid in school who gets bullied all the time. I'll punch one ears. Right? That's what he did. And then, now by Donald Trump's own fucking words, that's an escalation. He should escalate it further. But Donald Trump, being a bloated fucking borderline senile old man, because we only elect bloated borderline senile old men in politics all around the world now. They're the only people fit to govern, apparently. So we fucking, you know, the older and more senile, the better. What's that? He's just had a heart attack and has dementia. Get him in the White House. What could go wrong? Perfect. Richard, you're being ableist. No, you're being ageist. No. I just want competency in my world leaders. Sorry. Anyway, he then comes out, Donald Trump, and goes, yeah, well, you know, we bloodied Iran's nose, and they fired missiles at us, and no one was hurt, so it's all okay. What the fuck was all that about? That's not a high-level game of Risk and spies and intelligence and, like, last-minute stuff. It was literally boys in a sandpit fucking smashing each other's toys a bit. Yeah. Just absolutely ridiculous. Just absolutely stupid. What a load of shit. And meanwhile, all the fucking supposed experts and blue checks literally working themselves up into a frenzy about a war that never even happened. And people are still telling me, but the war's still going on. No one gives a fuck now. That's it. That was it. That was your war. Hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, but we're still going to force regime shit. No one. We're all bored now. It was just a momentary fucking distraction. Probably Soleimani's probably better off dead. Sounds like he was a cunt. Mental thing to do would just fucking blow him up with a Bond laser, though. Like, I mean, you were fucking. You know what else do you want me to say? Like, absolutely no evidence as well. By the way, from the world power that brought you the 9/11 report. Yeah, Soleimani planned them attacks on the fucking embassies. Did he though? Totally. Yeah. How do you know?
Yeah.
Intelligence. Wait, aren't you the same people that said fucking Iraq had something to do with 9/11? Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right then. You know, I wouldn't even mind at this point.
This is new CIA.
I wouldn't even mind at this point if America just fucking came out and just fucking said, like, listen, you know, we're hitting peak oil and they've got it all. And we're juiced up with Saudi. There's only so many countries left we can go to war with to get this shit locked down for the next 50 years before we fucking turn into Mad Max. So obviously we gotta blow up Iran. I'd just be like, well, you know what, mate? You got my vote for the next election. How refreshing. Instead of this, Soleimani he did the embassy attacks. I just whatever. Just say he's a cunt and you killed him for a bit of banter. Like I don't even know what else to say. Like it's just nonsense. The whole thing's just a lie predicated on a lie predicated on a lie, and then the ultimate lie of all time. Well, if they fight back, things will get really bad for Iran. They fight back. Boom, 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 boom. Just as well they missed though. Like that's not a
Didn't even
it can't be contingent on that. It can't be contingent on that. It can't be. They fired back. You know what now? Whatever. Let's just try and power
Not
through these
even
impeachment hearings. And some of the theory crafting with it as well. Oh, yeah, Soleimani was so well liked by Putin and China and all. Mate, like they're hitching their fucking wagon to Iran, like in a war with America. It's like they'll sell them some guns. they'll benefit from the ensuing
make some
chaos.
cash off it, like.
Yeah, but the idea they were all just gonna fucking get together and be like, right, now this is the time we really stick it to America. Just get used to America. It's the young, loud jock at the party. That's what America is for the next 500 years. Get used to it. You ain't gonna do shit. Not straight up like that. Yeah, you know, China can cut its fucking pocket money off. China can make it so you don't get the car anymore.
That's it, Chad.
Chad, yeah, exactly.
You're not doing your chores, Chad.
China's holding all
bullshit,
the
Mom.
cards, but you can walk around and you can flex your muscles and pretend you're the tough guy, sure, but we all know China's your fucking dad. We all know China's your daddy. You ain't gonna do shit. What a load of nonsense it was. And, you know, I have no doubt, by the way, there'll be still people in that power structure trying to, Donald, we could use a war, actually. Like, it's really, I saw all of that wag the dog bullshit. Like, oh, God, everyone's just a moron. Like, I just can't deal with it. I just can't deal with it. The war that never was. Where were you at the start of 2020? Anyway, back to Ricky Gervais. About this Ricky Gervais reaction. So, yeah, a somber mood about an impeachment that they all want, a war with Iran that never was, and Australian bushfires that, if they believe the global warming, right, if they believe that global warming was to blame for it, and that it is a direct result of global warming and not arson, and that, sure, the fact that Australia was hitting record temperatures exacerbated the problem, no one's disputing that. Well, again, it's not really the kind of like, I understand it, man. I get it. Celebrities, they're passionate about it. They definitely want to save the planet. Because without the planet, Sam, how can they have their stretch limos, their private jets, their big houses, their big parties, their wealth, all of this? That's totally real and so important. We gotta save the planet.
If everyone's
gotta
on
save the
fire,
planet.
who's gonna watch my films?
Exactly. We must save the planet because I have too much invested in this nonsense. So, trot out the lectures. Go on. Tell us how it's our fault.
Don't use
People who don't
plastics.
make 100 of me wouldn't make the carbon footprint of Leonardo DiCaprio. Do you know how much energy is invested in making a movie, by the way?
Isn't it?
Yeah. Tell you what, you want to fix the planet, stop making them huge billion-dollar budget fucking movies that you churn out every month from a big studio. That'd be a good start. All the energy that you'd save from that would be wicked. Not interested. You know, it's just an absurd. But anyway, the idea that they were in a somber mood, going to a backslapping self-congratulatory award party, all about them, and poor Ricky Gervais, the bad man, spoiled it. Fuck off. There were some others. Let me see if I can find some of the other ones. I did get them all out ready. Not that it matters. As you can see, it's been a bit of a car crash mentally anyway, hasn't it? Like, just all over the place, just swerving all over the road like a fucking drunk driver. Stone cold sober.
Now Ricky Gervais. Fucking Ricky Gervais.
I don't care. They're the best shows.
Exactly.
The ones where I just go literally have a mental breakdown. People don't realize. Okay, so here we go. The Ringer. I'll read you some choice quotes from these publications. Don't worry if I'm too quick for you, Sam. You can't bring them all up. I'll let you off. The Ringer said, "Good riddance to Ricky Gervais, the sneering, purposefully intolerable Golden Globes host. Nobody's better at being intolerable on purpose," the author conceded, "and nobody better embodied the chaotic, evil energy of a somehow already intolerable 2020 in general, and the world historically wacky Golden Globes in particular. You go to war with the award show host you have, especially when the world itself is on the brink of it." Right? That was the Ringer. I mean, purposefully intolerable is the point, so he's kind of missed that one, hasn't he? Not a problem. Gervais lost. This is USA Today. Gervais lost his shock and awe. Was Golden Globes host Ricky Gervais even trying in his 5th time? There weren't many barbs to his supposedly sharp humor, merely a few weak jabs at Apple and political celebrities. Bit of a glossing over. Well,
Yeah.
don't you want to talk about that fella who died in prison? Don't you want to bring him up? Weird that. Weird how, by the way, I couldn't find a single reference in any publication where they said, and he mentioned Epstein. No, you don't want to talk about him, do you? You don't want to talk about the skeleton in that fucking closet. You don't want to, do you?
Because he's your mate.
Vulture, right? Not just a type of bird, also a type of magazine. They said the award ceremony would have been enjoyable if you could get past Ricky Gervais, which they compared him to a predestined ride on a jam-packed subway car where your nose has nowhere to park but inside a fellow commuter's stanky armpit. Very good. High-level journalism there. New York Times, of course. Fine publication. Big fan of the New York Times on this.
Hang on, look at Jen Chaney who wrote that. Like, she's got the full, like, fucking, I need to see the manager haircut.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Karen'd up to the fucking max, mate. Karen'd up to the max.
Be your manager?
And
outrageous.
Karen'd up to the max. Yeah.
I carry on, man. Sorry, I couldn't let that slide like fucking Jen Chaney.
No, it's fair. Anyway, where was I? The New York Times. Yep, New York Times. Let's bring up their bit. Yeah, the New York Times said that Ricky Gervais was the worst host, and they said that they wanted to highlight the most important causes, not the things that he was talking about. And they praised Patricia Arquette, Joaquin Phoenix, Russell Crowe for championing climate change. And they also said that Michelle Williams' pro-abortion speech was the most potent thank you of the evening. Slate started live tweeting in real time about how Ricky Gervais was a cunt. They got upset. Just how big a jerk was Ricky Gervais at the Golden Globes? Because it's high school.
You joke off. You joke.
A tweet from the magazine queried with a link to an article ranking his opening jokes in terms of dickishness. The magazine said many of his jokes, including one that compared Joe Pesci to Baby Yoda, were just plain mean.
As if that's what you call mean. Calling Joe Pesci Baby Yoda is mean. Get a motherfucking grip, mate. Oh, how is Joe Pesci going to handle that? You call him Baby Yoda. He's only been in every fucking Hard Man film since the dawn of time. He's never going to get over it.
Yep, definitely. Then there was this as well from the Independent. Because, of course, Ricky Gervais cheapened the Golden Globes, but worse, he overshadowed vital political statements. If there's a place for smutty humor, it's at Friday night work drinks after one too many, not on the stage that birthed the Me Too movement. Not in that sacred, most hallowed of grounds where a movement that literally started out as well-intentioned, highlighting actual sexual predators and bringing them to account, but somehow snowballed into fake allegations for Supreme Court judges and bad dates that actors went on, like Aziz Ansari. Yeah, you know what? It's kind of like, you know, there was a movement in 2014 that I think we were all trying to fucking tell you about. And basically anyone can use a hashtag. So occasionally you're going to get cunts using a hashtag. And that did happen to me too as well, didn't it? No getting away from it. Unless you think Aziz Ansari having a bad date where he said, yeah, you want to fuck or something? And the woman went, nah, I don't want to fuck. And he went, all right, I will call you a taxi. Be well. And they wrote an article about it. Saying Aziz
Ansari has a penis.
Yeah, my
for
Me
sex.
Too with Aziz Ansari. I didn't want to have sex with him because he looks too much like a whippet. Nightmare. There was also this, which I thought was, interesting. there was this comedian, Seamus Stackpool.
Fucking hell, he sounds like a wrestler or something, mate. What's that?
Let me show you this
Stack
guy.
lad.
Actually, I just wanna find his account. I wrote it down. I didn't actually have the tweet. So yeah, Seamus Stackpool, he's called. Apparently, he does stand-up improvs and sketches. He's not a particularly big name. This will probably be his biggest audience ever,
There you go.
actually. Right? But he did say, right,
Don't
hang on, I
bully his
found the
name.
tweet now. Here it is. He wanted to go for that woke comedy point, right? So he said, Gervais preemptively tries to undermine any genuine humane sentiments winners might make during their speeches. He has the empathy of a leech and can't understand that other privileged people might actually try and say something for the good of others rather than themselves, right? But then somebody replied to him and said, when we did a roast together, you implied that I was a sex offender. Is it okay because you wrote it yourself and you aren't privileged? And he replied with, it's okay because you really do look like one, Ronan. Hence opening the door wide open to the implication. Anyway, so you mock me because of the way I look. Nice empathy. Isn't that the opposite of what you are meant to be against? You're right, Ronan. In the context of a roast, everything I said should have been coming from a place of empathy. Because a roast in Whelan's, I don't know, and an awards
Yes,
event
that's a
watched by
comedy club.
millions. What's that?
I guess that's the name of the comedy club,
Yeah.
Waylands.
Yeah. Good point. Because a roast in Whelan's and an awards event watched by millions worldwide and covered by TV, newspapers, and online are total moral equivalent. But you did just say that, though.
Dafty.
But this is what I mean as well. Like, just objective reality is not a thing anymore. Objective reality doesn't exist.
Stackpool, man.
Right. So anyway, that was Ricky Gervais, and of course, as I said, the thing that did, really kind of blew me away was that anybody kind of would bring up the Epstein situation. Now, there's a lot been going on with Epstein. I don't know how many people are still following this. I wanted to get into it a bit more, and I haven't even prepped for it. But obviously, I'm sure you guys all remember the what was it? Hang on, I'll get the right news station. No. Because this was something I had it all mapped out, and I think it was ABC. And basically, what happened was there was a Project Veritas who, I've said it before. Project Veritas, they have one particular shtick, and that is that they get somebody to sort of infiltrate low levels of companies or political events or whatever, wearing hidden cameras, and they catch people, usually also incredibly low-level individuals themselves, saying stupid things that they would never say in any recordable fashion, and then they publicize snippets of it, spread out over weeks, the worst clips, the worst sound bites, and they go, see? Now, there's still some value in that, undoubtedly, but equally as well, it's not. A lot of people consider it high-level investigative journalism, which is an insult to the craft. And when you keep in mind that James O'Keefe was a guy who literally was closer to Sacha Baron Cohen than a journalist when he started, famously with the Acorn story, which Andrew Breitbart published way back when he was still alive. He literally dressed up as a pimp and went into like a fucking, went into Acorn trying to get loans while saying like, wink, wink, I'm running a whorehouse, and filmed it on a hidden camera and stuff. And it was like, this is like a comedy sketch, it's not like journalism, but whatever. But anyway, Amy Robach, her name was talking during, because when you're in a TV studio, when you're mic'd up, they record all of this stuff. I'm sure E-League has me talking about all sorts of fucking wacky shit back in the archives. Watch this space, I'll have been done. That'll come out. It'll just be like some disgruntled former E-League employee will just release a recording of me talking to Thorin about, I don't know, something horrific. But anyway, Amy Robach was on a hot mic and basically said like, oh, I had the Jeffrey Epstein story locked down. which was the one that linked him to Prince Andrew, and we had people who were going to go, do interviews and do it all privately, and the network refused to publish it. And somebody inside the company got the tape and sent it to Project Veritas. Incidentally, the person who got fired from ABC wasn't the person who leaked it. There was a whole thing there. This is why I wanted to do a proper bit on it, because this was at the same time everyone was going, we mustn't name the whistleblower who is lying about Trump's Ukrainian call when he wasn't even present for it. And Adam Schiff is saying he doesn't even know who the whistleblower is. Like, fucking beam me up, Scotty, right? But at the same time, everyone was going, we must know who this whistleblower is. They must be outed. They've leaked a private video from a TV network that has gone against a journalist. How dare there's journalists being hypocrites just another day of the week. But anyway, so we know that networks were sitting on stuff about the Epstein stories. Again, this isn't even a matter of opinion. This is something that absolutely was happening. This is something that should be a top news story all the time. This is an elite power broker, a super wealthy person who has been named in multiple cases relating to blackmail, child sex trafficking, potential illegal insider trading, stuff like this, right? So anyway, London police themselves, this was at the end of November, they came out and said that even though her name is Virginia Giuffre, she said she was trafficked to the UK, age 17, by the Epstein consortium run by Ghislaine Maxwell to fuck Prince Andrew, right? And she's gone on the record publicly, has repeatedly said, by the way, I wonder why, I'm not suicidal, I just need someone to hear my story. And this came out just as we were ending the year that, yeah, we're not gonna, we absolutely had to drop that criminal investigation, said Scotland Yard. And it did so after liaising with like all the other criminal investigations around the world. Like, yeah, there's just nothing there. We've got a photograph with Prince Andrew with his arm around her waist, but they never met. They think you're fucking insane, right? It's a fake photo. It's all fake, guys.
Actually, you'll find I cannot sweat. Well, I can sweat, but I didn't sweat from that time until a few days ago, but now I sweat again. And that picture's fake.
So they dropped investigating this, and they completely publicly justified it on the grounds that, yeah, there's just not any evidence or whatever. So nobody talked about that. Nobody talked about how that all got put to one side. Then what we also had was they finally, and I don't even know why this got up, because 60 Minutes, I mean, imagine this shit. I don't know what's going on here. It can't be what it looks like. It cannot just be a piece of investigative journalism. But 60 Minutes, the legendary show, they started, and again, I actually can't, I can send you this link, but do not show any of the pictures, because that will go against Twitch TOS, because they literally released Epstein's death photos to the public as part, while this investigation was ongoing. And here's the thing, Sam, as any Dota fans will know, I know a thing or two about what constitutes choking and what doesn't. And let me tell you, when you hang yourself, it's pretty much, kind of up and down, we've all seen rotten.com. This is unbelievable. There's marks all over the fucking place. It's such a deep, thin line into the neck that these photos just raise more questions. There was a note in the cell, and the note doesn't even make any sense as a suicide note, by the way. It literally just says, wait, I'll read you the full thing. It's crazy. It doesn't,
it says, Dave kept in a locked shower, in a local shower.
Yeah, Dave's kept in a locked in a locked shower. Giant bugs crawling on my hands. No fun. Bit of a weird suicide note, that. I mean, bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll show the note.
Yeah, bit weird. What, I work in esports. No fun there. But I'm all right. What does that mean? And what we also know is as well that despite the emergence of these pictures, the people that came and got his body destroyed forensic evidence. I mean, first thing you do with a crime scene, right? You secure it off. You make sure nobody, anyone who was there, you get under their fingernails. You do all it. Nah, fuck that. We'll just scrub the place top to bottom, remove the body. Don't worry about it. And this isn't even, again, this isn't conspiracy. This legit happened. This is just literally what went down. Meanwhile, of course, now we've had two world-renowned pathologists that have basically looked at the pictures of Jeffrey Epstein's injuries and have agreed that, yeah, that's more in line with the murder. That's more in line with the murder completely. And then that's there was Dr. Baden. There was another one whose name escapes me. But you know, these are this isn't some old kook looking to make a name for himself. This is a guy who legitimately has been associated with some of the most high-profile forensic cases of all time and is a renowned, legendary expert in his field. So much so, he is taught. His cases and his methodologies are taught in many forensic schools around the world. It is insane to try and suggest that this person is just having like some senior moment at the end of his career because he wants to get some attention when he's left a body of work that is so widely respected. But then on top of that, right, just on top of that, this is where they're taking the piss out of you all. They're taking the piss out of you all. They're straight taking the piss. The report just came out. Sorry, I need to double paste that for you. There you go. It didn't work. But this report came out, right? Well, the good news is because he was in a prison, there's cameras everywhere, right? Nah. We just found out. We just found out last week that the surveillance video taken from outside Jeffrey Epstein's jail cell on the day of his first apparent suicide attempt, permanently deleted. Gone. Oh, you mean the first suicide attempt? The first suicide attempt that Jeffrey Epstein's own counsel said he didn't do, and that it was widely regarded that he was attacked. So coincidentally, the first attempt on this man's life while he was in custody, just deleted, not a problem. Keep in mind as well that it wasn't even like some minor mistake. It was that they were filming the entire wrong floor. It's not like, the camera was off or,
Bloody tech problems, eh? Bloody tech problems.
It's they think you're all fucking stupid. They think they just don't even care at this point. Like, they're just not even trying with this one. Anyway, look. So Epstein, the disgraced financier who was facing federal sex trafficking charges, was found semi-conscious in his cell at the Metropolitan Correctional Center, or MCC, in New York at 1:30 in the morning on July 23rd. But the video from that incident is now gone because MCC officials mistakenly saved video from a different floor of the federal detention facility, prosecutors said in a court filing. The MCC inadvertently preserved video from the wrong tier within the MCC, and as a result, video from outside the defendant's cell on July 22nd to 23rd no longer exists. Incredible, almost as if it was his cellmate that was getting some sort of inducement to fucking garrot this motherfucker. The FBI made the discovery last week while reviewing a copy of the video by MCC officials, prosecutors said. After reviewing the video, it appeared to the government that the footage contained on the preserved video was for the correct date and time, but captured a different tier than the one where the cell housing Epstein and his cellmate was located, because the preserved video did not show corrections officers responding to any of the cells seen in the video. The filing was made in a case involving Nicholas Tartaglione, a former police officer in Westchester County, New York, who was Epstein's cellmate on the day of the incident. Tartaglione is awaiting trial on charges he killed 4 men and buried them in his yard in 2016. Prosecutors allege that he was involved in a cocaine distribution conspiracy. Now, let me just show you this guy, by the way, who was his cellmate. I think I've shown you a picture of him before, Sam. I think you'd remember it, right? You've got Jeffrey Epstein, this small, effete, elite, never done a day's work in his life, right? What you selling? Why is this his celly? Why is this his celly? Look at that cunt!
He is
Look at that
fucking
cunt.
massive, like.
I have fucking nightmares about that picture. I've never met the cunt. Look at that. That's your cellmate. A man who just so happens to be facing these unbelievable charges because he's a former police officer, supposedly with ties to drug dealing. He was going like fucking Alonzo out of Training Day, just blah, 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 burying people in the garden, not giving a fuck. You don't think somebody can get to him and say, listen, like, your case looks pretty bad, but we know the folk who can fucking sort you out. It's ridiculous. Like, if I had to write, like, Babby's first conspiracy, it would be this. Yeah, we just weren't bloody filming on the day that Epstein mysteriously got fucking strangled. I mean, hung himself. It's ridiculous. And they just
And who was his cellmate? Ex-bodybuilder, like.
Yeah, who was his cellmate? The world's strongest man.
Mark Henry.
Yeah, innit? Absolute mental. But don't worry about it, guys. Back to bed. You know, it was just going to be a day of reckoning for the elite power structure in their sick, demented ways. Finally, there was going to be some sort of semblance of justice. It would at least get talked about in court. Who knows where it would have gone? But at least we would have had an awakening of sorts, an epiphany. But now we're not having that now. Sorry, you're not allowed that now. But don't worry, Epstein totally hung himself twice. And all those bruises, you know. You pick up knocks in a prison, don't you? You pick up knocks. Just how it is. We've all done it. We've all gone out drinking. You wake up, you got a bruise on your shin. You go, fucking hell, how did I do that? I don't know. Bloody hell. Gonna have to cut back on the boozing.
And then you die.
Not all of us have a giant fucking murderer as a fucking housemate who's desperately trying to get out of prison for some sort of favour, and also mysteriously wasn't filmed in an area that is meant to be filmed 24/7. So, you know, there's lots to unpack there, isn't it? Just one of them things, Sam. Just one of them things, isn't it? Just happens. Mate, the throbbing he's doing as well. I mean, fair play to him. Dem gains, though. Mass murderer, but dem gains.
Who's like?
Oh, can you even imagine it? Like, day one of prison, you're Epstein. You already know they're coming for you. You already know you're in trouble. And they go, well, don't worry, right? Like, listen, we're going to put you in with an ex-police officer as a cellmate. Oh, yeah. And that cunt walks in. Like, fucking, be like that scene in Stir Crazy where fucking Richard Pryor's just crying in a cell with Grossberger. Like,
what are you in for? Straight killing motherfuckers. Sound. Yeah, great.
Yeah, what? Don't touch my burger. Now, why did you kill your father? He slapped my hand. I fucking love that movie, man. Fucking love that movie. Stir Crazy, classic. Nothing's gonna stop us now. Go check it out, kids. You're too young for it, but it's a good film. Anyway, so I don't know, man. I mean, at this point, like, do we even just bother? Like, again, I just love it. Let's just do a day of honesty, eh? The media look. We're not talking about Epstein. It's too close to home. The billionaires that own the news networks are in cahoots with the celebrities that were in cahoots with all of those fucking power brokers and big people that were all involved in all of those private flights back and forth, getting their little creepy foot rubs and other fucking perks because they're sick. And, we're just not going to report on it because it's a little too close to home. And we are but lowly journalists. Now, here's why Donald Trump is a cunt for the billionth time. Well, let's just do that. Let's just admit we're not going to touch it with a 10-foot pole. The 60 Minutes report is mind-blowing to me that it's even happening. But all it's saying is, look, proof he killed himself. He's covered in bruises. He's dead, though. Don't think about it. I did see someone go mental, actually. Somebody tweeted out, the noose it looked like it was the letter C and the letter P, right? And somebody said, see the elites, they're laughing at us. Now that's too far for me. Like, I can't go Pizzagate on this motherfucker.
What, is that on the pictures of the cell?
Yeah.
Right.
But he was, I can't go Pizzagate on this motherfucker, but real talk, he was murdered. So, like, just real talk, like, just real talk.
Real talk.
Innit?
Yeah, man.
You know, haha, look, here's it. I can't even do it anymore. can't even say what I want to say anymore. I can't. Can't even say it anymore, can I? Haha. I draw yellow people for a living. Haha. I do biting, cutting satire, but haven't really for 20 years. I'm also getting foot rubs. Haha. Don't judge me. Just watch the cartoon. Here is a Donald Trump sing song. He gets trampled to death by AOC. I am on the right side of history. Now rub my feet, children. Like, you know, what do you do with it? What do you do with it?
What's happening, mate?
You obviously missed the story.
Yeah,
People
I
in
don't
the
know
chat
what that's
know what I'm talking
referencing, mate. I'm scared. I don't know what you're saying. I don't know.
Distress, alarms, LOL, I'm scared.
scared.
There you were, just pure scared. Like, it's fine. I'm coming back.
I'm
coming
hoping you're
back.
talking about The Simpsons, mate. Like, and Matt
Yeah.
Gordon. All right, sound.
Yeah, I'll let you Google it in your own time. We'll get into the. We'll get into the next bit. Want to talk about China?
Yeah, why not? I'm never going there, mate. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I've got a slightly different read. I'm 100% getting capped if I ever do so.
Yeah.
If I ever say, I'm off to China, Sam, you know something's
Why?
gone very wrong. Like, yeah.
That means if anyone off you.
You'll just get a postcard. Loving, dear Zoom.
Never
loving
look
it
for me
here.
again.
Yeah, dear Zoom. I am loving it here in China. I will not be coming back. Also, do you need a kidney? You know,
For half price.
never going there. Anyway, I'm just sick of this pandering to fucking China, right? Like, just to give everybody an update, right? Just
Just an update.
Just an update, lads, from China, right? This is heartbreaking shit, right?
Mate,
It's
it is
serious.
mental. It is so mental. This is
Right,
going to be
I've
such
done-
a stain on humanity, but this has been going on. And
Oh,
everyone
mate,
knows and we're just
it's already
ignoring
past
it.
that point. Like, no one gives a fuck.
I know. People
Again,
are
I just
like,
don't
you know this is
understand
happening, yeah? Yeah, we do, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I don't understand it. Because I grew up with apartheid and I watched that filthy fucking evil, perpetrated, and I couldn't understand it as a kid. And then it was through economic sanctions and a global steadfast refusal to allow racial segregation to exist in a country that wanted to engage with the rest of the world, that identified that as a diseased ethos. And we beat it. And we end up with, and it's little incremental steps, you get your Chester Williams, rest in peace. You get your Nelson Mandela. It was a great story about how the world like sort of came together in like a moment in time and stood unified on a goal. And it was sort of like when the Berlin Wall came down. Have you noticed that we don't have moments like that anymore?
Yeah.
Have you noticed that? Instead, we're told about the evils of insular thinking and isolationism, and yet rarely do we come together as a global, force to change things for good for oppressed people around the world. We don't do it. We just don't do it anymore. Don't think about what's happening in Bolivia. Don't think about what's happening in Venezuela. Don't think about all of these coups and all of this stuff around the world. And yes, here's China, and here's John Boyega being deleted out of a poster, and Black Panther can't have black people in it. Well, not in the posters, but then when the people go to the... It's like, we just want to make money from a country that we know deep down in our hearts has got something very fundamentally wrong with it at its core, that is completely indefensible on the way that it treats its people, on the way that it interacts with us globally, in its intentions globally. And it's little things like posters. That's not even it, right? This is the foul shit. This is the foul shit. Uyghur Muslims still being put in camps. And if you're not aware of what's going on, obviously the Uyghur Muslims are ethnic Kazakhstanis that happen to obviously be in this part of the region that now falls under Chinese rule. And what they've started doing is they've started taking this ethnic group and they're literally putting them in camps. They're literally putting them in camps, concentration camps. We had to listen to hyperbole about concentration camps in America for what is inarguably a humanitarian crisis at the border. But this is China working with big tech to track down Uyghur Muslims and put them in concentration camps. People aren't making it out. People are dying. People are being killed. Everyone's okay with this because the money tap is still on. You see, and that is hyperbole is dangerous in times like these. That to me is evil. If you're willing to turn a blind eye to that to line your own pocket, you're evil. I will happily use that word in a phraseology that usually tries to eschew it. But what they've started doing now in China is they've gone on the public offensive because obviously, we know that people are talking about it. They're not called concentration camps, Sam. They're called re-education camps. And in the Communist Party have put a statement out saying that Uyghur Muslims can come and go freely and that they're just being re-educated in the ways of Chinese culture and that everyone is very happy there and they will eventually be released when they graduate. Again, to bring the Simpsons back to it, I'm graduating from Bovine University. That's how you graduate out of a Uyghur Muslim concentration camp. And this propaganda is being repeated, and it's just being put out there. Amnesty International know what's going on. They're talking about it. But for some reason, this story doesn't seem to make the front page news. It's not quite as sexy or salacious enough as Americans lecturing other Americans about how bad, despicable behavior. To be honest.
Yeah. Hello? Can you hear me?
I'm back.
Yeah. I was saying, yeah, we did. It's weird timing, isn't it, man?
Whenever we talk about China, it's fucking every time.
Straight.
It is every time. But anyway, and just also, let me just show you this other story, just to give you. Just to show you how fucking vile and dehumanizing it is. There was this story back in November. Actually, let's not use that source. Well, I guess we could. Yeah, let's just do this. You might need to go past the ad block. But anyway, this is a report. It was mass reported. This Business Insider is the first one I got. What it was doing was they were taking the Uyghur Muslims, which have been separated from the men in the family. The men are being put in camps, and what they would do is they would give the women to rich Chinese businessmen to have sex with, just as a reward, just as an inducement. That's happening. Come and have a free Uyghur Muslim woman. It's just so fucking perplexing to me how disgusting all of this is, and how every company in America is happy to be complicit with this. No one really wants to make the stand. Disney don't want to make the stand. Apple don't want to make the stand. Apple actually, it was a security snafu, a security vulnerability that enabled China to backdoor iPhones and track down Uyghur Muslims to put them in camps. But hey, you get to keep doing business in China, so it's all good. And that was another thing that I thought was brave, actually, with the Ricky Gervais speech, because, even though I said it was a terrible show and I didn't plan it out, there is a swirling connection to all of this. He brought it up, and he jokingly said, if ISIS had a streaming service, you would all call your agents. Why not? You're all content to do business in China. So there's some absolutely horrendous stuff going on right now. And yet I continually see big companies continuing to just pander to this. Here's another instance as well. Remember how we always said that by doing business with China and having a strong relationship with China, we would export Western values of democracy, freedom of information, these things that we supposedly prize. Meanwhile, by the way, we're importing Chinese values. We're importing social credit scores. Yeah, we're not exporting shit. We're importing money, and we're importing tyranny, and we're importing despotism, and we're using big tech to fucking execute it on all of you. Okay? Now, we really like that social credit score. If only we could get away with it. Have you tried disguising it? In what way? Well, what we could do is we could sync up all of big tech and create some sort of, universal rule where actually you have to behave across all accounts. Or, hey, it can start with Airbnb. You're not allowed to use that. And then we can turn off your PayPal. You're not allowed to use that. And then, hey, why not your bank account? Wait, that's perfect. That's exactly what you're doing in China. Oh, yeah, we ain't exporting shit. We're only importing the bad stuff. And if you go look at, for example, here's an absolute banger. One of the questions that came up during the Democratic debates, not this CNN one. I think it was the previous CNN one. They asked about China's human rights record, and people were watching it in China. Right, the few people who would be interested in wondering what was going on in America, and at that moment, the screen just went to black. Off it goes,
and fade to black.
And fade to black. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You don't need to see that, Chinese populace. You don't need to know about our human rights record from a third-party source. They wouldn't tell you the truth. So let's take a look. Let's do a big wrap-up of all of the shit that I've just seen, right? So I thought this was interesting. I think I touched upon this before. I was going to do a separate video on it, but I just haven't had time with everything that happened. And Valve are also, because, I think one of the things that does happen is when we talk about games development companies, you bang on Riot, obviously. You bang on Activision Blizzard. Obviously, you bang on Tencent-owned entities. Maybe you bang on the Epic Games Store if you're a moron. Whatever, right? Valve always seem to skate when it comes to criticism, don't they? They always criticize the game, demand Half-Life 3, that's all fine. But when it comes to some of their political decisions, essentially, they always seem to kind of fly under the radar. They've been very keen to do business with China. I mean, any Dota fan will tell you about some of the things they've kind of let slide to do business with China. And I won't make this an esports heavy show, but obviously we all know about what happened with Cuckoo, and we all know like certain players are held to a different standard because apparently there's only one group of people on planet Earth you can't insult and still be competing at a Valve DPC event, and that's the Chinese. But anyone else is fair game, evidently. Equally as well, hey, if a Chinese production team completely fucks up an event, don't worry, we'll just fire the host for some off-color jokes that he made. And while you're distracted by that, we'll do more and more business with the incompetence. So Valve, for me, I've always had a soft spot for Valve. Valve, enabled me, through Counter-Strike to sort of carve out the life for myself that I have. But it's principles are what you live and die by. So I can't not criticize them because they're the one developer that will allow me to work their events. That is not reason enough to sit here and pretend that this isn't disgusting. But this was over on Steam. What they started doing was they were putting there were loads of like games, and you know how it is, shovelware or whatever you want to call it, games that were being pushed out onto Steam to raise awareness about the Hong Kong issues and the Hong Kong protests. And these games were being denied. They weren't being approved on the Steam platform, which was supposedly, apolitical. And one of the makers of one of the games, I think Liberate Hong Kong, apparently said that Valve had communicated that they were concerned with losing market from China. So this immediately to me is that you are essentially taking this is as worthy of critique as the Activision Blizzard Blitzchung situation. And it didn't get blown up, and it doesn't get talked about, and it doesn't get because it's Valve. It kind of just skates. But I did notice, funnily enough, there was this game that I did see that no one seemed to have any issues with at all. Now, obviously, it's not on Steam. It's just a web browser game. But China decided, well, some Chinese coders decided to fight back on the same battlefield, seeing all of these shovelware games. And, it wasn't just Valve that did this. As we talked about in the previous show, Apple banned apps that were helping Hong Kong protesters avoid police brutality. They took a stand. They took a side. They want to do business in China. It's not optional. You can't be pro-democracy and do business in China. You're not allowed. But what's interesting is nobody seems to have taken objections to things like this. This was a couple of Chinese coders that wanted to fight back on that same platform, on that same battlefield of creating stupid little mimetic games to make people think about, hey, maybe the Hong Kong protesters are bad. Because of course, right? And so this game got coded, Fight the Traitors Together, it's called. Fight the Traitors Together. According to China's state-operated Global Times, there's a new hit mobile game called Fight the Traitors Together, which let players join in assaulting and beating Hong Kong protesters. While the source of the game is unknown, the glowing write-up it received in the Global Times implies that it has at least tacit sanction as a work of propaganda, especially since there is little evidence on Chinese social media that the game has attracted any real audience at all. In an undeniably clumsy way, it points at the increasing violence and official intolerance being directed at the Hong Kong protesters. Fight the Traitors Together, which can be played in web browsers and on phones, features what is clearly meant to be unflattering cartoon versions of prominent Hong Kong activists such as Joshua Wong and Nathan Law. Players whack them with hands, flip-flops, and baseball bats in the game, the quirky tone of which is rather at odds with the graveness of the protests, which have been rumbling in the semi-autonomous region since June. So, just saying that's out there. That's something that this is okay.
That exists.
Yeah, that exists. That's fine. Then let me just show you this. In another example of corporations pandering to China because, we mustn't hurt the Chinese feelings. They're probably the most powerful nation on earth right now, despite, American flexing. But, here we got, there was a Batman comic. And this was DC, obviously owned by Warner Brothers. DC Comics had this piece of artwork, and it had Batman throwing a Molotov cocktail with the caption, "The future is young." Well, China didn't like that. They said it was pro-Hong Kong. Yep, can't have that.
Future's fucking ours, it ain't young. Fuck off.
So DC Comics, again, owned by Warner Brothers, part of the Time Warner conglomerate, another huge media outlet that absolutely must do business in China. Imagine how that an executive has to care about this. But this is how they think. DC Comics removed a piece of artwork from social media that was meant to promote a new Batman comic after Chinese critics claimed the artwork showed support for pro-democracy protesters in Hong Kong. The image by artist Raphael Grampa shows a version of Batwoman holding a Molotov cocktail in front of pink lettering that says "The future is young." DC used the image on Twitter and Instagram to promote Dark Knight Returns, The Golden Child, a Batman story that follows his young successor, Carrie Kelly, now Batwoman. The comic was written by Frank Miller, and you can tell from the art style, whose original Dark Knight Returns comic reshaped Batman in the 1980s and inspired recent film versions of the character. DC Comics pulled the image from all of its accounts on Wednesday amid outcry from online users in China. The publisher has not commented publicly about the move, but it comes after strong backlash against the image on Chinese social media. The black clothes represent Hong Kong. The mask represents Hong Kong. The Molotov cocktail represents Hong Kong. What else here doesn't represent Hong Kong? One critic wrote on China's Weibo social media service, according to Variety. No matter what the reason, to put an image like this up at a sensitive time means you have a death wish, another user wrote. So you don't even need to upset the government for a corporation in America to back down. Right? And yes, I did see that. Special shout out to Quentin Tarantino for actively refusing to remove parts of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for the Chinese edit, which is, again, morally the right thing to do. Once you start editing art for larger markets, it ceases to be art.
Sadly, it was all the creepy foot fetish stuff he puts in.
Yeah, unfortunately, Unfortunately, he left all the feet pics in. Maybe that's what that app was made for. Maybe that was
for Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, Tarantino developed it. An AI that can send me foot pics at any time. So then, let's also talk about Mesut Özil. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but Mesut Özil obviously is somebody that was vocal about the, he's a Muslim himself, so spoke out about the, Uyghur Muslims' plight, as it should be a concern to everybody, regardless of religion, creed, ethnicity. It's a humanitarian disgrace. He spoke out about it. Well, how do you think his own football club reacted? Arsenal, right? Because Premier League football clubs want to do business in China, want to sell shirts in China. Arsenal, one of the more popular teams in China. Everyone's been trying to tap that Chinese market. Some teams do mad, cynical shit like sign Chinese players and just play them every, have 5 minutes, you know who you are, just to get into that Chinese market and sell some shirts. So Arsenal basically spoke out and actively said, right, that no, we don't stand with his comments at all. Far from it. I'll read you the statement. This is Arsenal Football Club. Regarding the comments made by Mesut Özil on social media, Arsenal must make a clear statement. Oh, you're coming out in pro-democracy and not looking at people in concentration camps? And no, what are you going to say? The content published is Özil's personal opinion. As a football club, Arsenal has always adhered to the principle of not involving itself in politics. Must be nice. So what Özil had said was East Turkestan, the bleeding wound of the Ummah, resisting against the persecutors, trying to separate them from their religion. They burn their Qurans, they shut down their mosques, they ban their schools, they kill their holy men. The men are forced into camps and their families are forced to live with Chinese men. The women are forced to marry Chinese men. But Muslims are silent. They won't make a noise. They have abandoned them. Don't they know that giving consent for persecution is persecution itself? He didn't even point any fingers there. He's like saying, what the fuck are we doing about it?
Yeah.
But Arsenal, we don't involve ourselves in politics, except, for all of those Premier League mandated corporate political events, where we get to wear like bands and ribbons. We love those ones. They're great. We really like that sanitized version of politics. The ones we can leverage to make more money from. We really like those. Taking a stand just purely on principles that would actually cost us money, yeah, we don't really like that so much. That's a problem. Anyway. The Chinese reaction was as measured and proportionate as you might expect. Let's just go down the list. You put it this way: right now, Mesut Özil has been memory holed in China. He doesn't exist. He's gone. There once was a man called Mesut. Finish off the limerick. So first of all, China's Arsenal fans started burning their shirts, and they gave him a nickname, Dirty Ant. I don't know what the significance is of that culturally.
Dirty Ant.
Yeah. But anyway, there was loads of people replying on his like Weibo accounts, and you've been deceived by fake news. Obviously, it's him with access to a non-censored internet and freedom of information. He's the one that's been, blinded by fake news. Definitely not you, who live in a country where you're not even allowed to use Google. Don't worry about it. It's all him. It's all Mesut's fault. Do you know how Arsenal fans in China have spent the last 2 days? They are struggling. This is from a fan on Instagram. They are struggling to understand how the club and idol they once loved has turned out to be a rumor monger. Of course, if you intend to attack China, you are as insignificant in our hearts as dirty ants. Another said, as a Chinese football fan, I'm very disappointed. Why can't you just focus on playing football? I'm sure there's some people in camps right now that would like to focus on doing other things except being in camps. It's weird how it works, isn't it? As a public figure, you should know what you can say, what you can do, and be aware of the consequences. Several fans posted a video of football shirts bearing Özil's previous numbers lit on fire. Others said they planned to burn their shirts too. Others said they were going to trash theirs. Attempts over the weekend by Arsenal to distance itself from Özil's comments failed to calm the situation in what was reminiscent of the NBA Houston Rockets incident. And you'll also notice that Arsenal basically invoked the LeBron James defense. Man, I ain't no politician. What about all those? Wait, didn't you say that the NFL was like the plantation, though? Yeah, you did. Yeah. Yeah, you get real political when there's no money up for grabs. When your paper ain't right, when you're going to be in Space Jam 2, coming to Chinese audiences. Oh, yeah, now you're not a politician. But I got to listen to you in 2 weeks' time when you're griping about whatever bullshit, like.
Yeah, when you are a politician.
Yeah, when you decide you're a politician again. Yeah. And understand, by the way, I love that the NBA and most sports leagues in America actually will allow people to speak out about matters they're passionate about. I think it's a fundamental freedom, a fundamental right. It's a fundamental proof that you are alive to be able to say things. And people might disagree, but you get to say them. Right? Like, it's super important. And I admire players when they do it, even if I disagree with what the fuck they are saying. But when you then suddenly say, hey, I should probably just keep my mouth shut because I want to make some money. Like, you cheapen every other time you open your mouth. You cheapen all of the progress to get to that point where people can talk and have these free exchange of ideas and say all this stuff. But don't worry, it's okay. Because it was only China, it's just ended with shirt burning. Right? Because, of course, it's just ended with shirt burning. I mean, you burn a shirt, the fans are upset. There's no way China would then be even more sensitive about somebody just pointing out you are locking up people and putting them in concentration camps, and that's bad. There's no way they would be upset, and petty about it. Wrong. Sky Sports reported that the Chinese state broadcaster won't even show Sunday's match between Arsenal and Man City because of the comments made by Mesut Özil. You just don't get to watch the game now. Sorry. Mesut Özil said something bad. Arsenal don't exist in China. We're not showing the game. And they're not getting the TV rights for us showing the game. Sorry. We will teach you. We will teach you to say China is great and everything China does is great and even the evil shit we do is great. We will we don't need to beat you into submission. We'll just economically starve you out. Don't worry though, because it's China. It ends there. They just stopped that one. Yeah, they just stopped that one game, and they burnt all the shirts, and they made Arsenal beg and grovel. It doesn't go any further because it's not like China are big fucking babies or anything, Sam. I mean, what's wrong with you? So, obviously, I'm lying because it's China. that was what we call business sarcasm. Yeah, you with me? It's sarcasm.
Ever seen Borat? Not.
Yeah, big Nat. Right. So Mesut Özil removed from Pro Evolution Soccer. Gone. Out the game. He's gone. Gone. Removed from the game. Gone.
Memory all him. Never existed.
Now, you have to understand, the PES franchise, Pro Evolution Soccer, is huge in China. It's a very popular game. It's published by NetEase out there, one of the biggest publisher of games. Yes, that's Activision Blizzard's business partner as well, by the way. Shh. All these companies are the same. You know, he went out of that game. Gone. He's just not in the game. He's just not in the fucking game, Sam. He's just not there. He just doesn't exist anymore.
Photoshop him out the pictures, remove him out the video game, shut him down. He was never there.
But that wasn't just the only game. He was actually removed from some others, some lesser known games, and some Chinese Pacific market games. I think all in all, he was removed from 3 games. Just taken out, just gone. Because he said, yeah, can you stop putting my people in concentration camps? Right, well, you don't exist anymore. Fuck it. Just gone. And you can see as well the fucking the ridiculous statements about it. Here we go. Let me tell you what NetEase said. You know, again, remember, big partner to a lot of games developers. The German player Urzel posted an extreme statement about China on social media. The speech hurt the feeling. Yeah, it was all true, like.
Extreme.
Extremely true. The speech hurt the feelings of Chinese fans and violated the sports spirit of love and peace. We do not understand, accept, or forgive this.
I don't understand and I don't forgive. Peace.
Yeah, we do not understand it. We don't accept it. And even though we don't understand or accept it, we will never forgive it, cunt.
That'll teach.
And that's that now. He's not. He will never. He'll probably never be in the games again. I heard he was also out of FIFA. I don't know if that's true. I think that was one of the other games, but it was like some of the Chinese market games. He's just gone.
EA doing whatever they can to make money. Nah, never them, eh?
Don't worry, we've replaced him with a fictitious Chinese player that you can now buy on the market with your MUT points or whatever. So that's Madden Ultimate Team. Sorry, your FUT. I don't play FIFA. Fuck that game. I shouldn't play Madden. It's bad for your health. You don't even need to pass anymore, son. But anyway.
There's some daft cunt in the chat that, like, evilness FPS. Ozil is a cunt. Funny now he's a hero, but he made so many extremist statements before.
Listen.
Research.
No. Actually,
doesn't matter about the person, does it? Yaz said some mad cunt that his best fucking, what was it called? His best man at his wedding was Erdogan.
Yeah.
Obviously, but it's not the person or the statement, is it? You smack rat. It's the idea that a government that is taking people's organs gets to control what goes in your ears, you daft bastard. This is why it works, because you have 27 IQ and everyone's like you shit-eating goon. Oh my god, mate. People made me ill. Imagine being that daft.
But, you know, listen, obviously it was a knee-jerk thing that actually did happen. What you saw play out there from Evilness FPS was you actually saw it sort of play out in real time on social media, because I saw people like, imagine siding with China.
I know, mate.
I know
Ozil's a cunt, mate. What fucking China's way nicer than Ozil.
I must have seen dozens of people, like, because I tweeted this out when it first happened. Because you know me, like, my Twitter feed is the fuck China news network, right? Like, I don't give a fuck. It's hilarious. I was talking to someone the other day from esports, and they were saying to me, like, fucking, like, aren't you, like, bothered that you're just not gonna ever be able to work for a big games developer? And I'm like, well, if the price is my soul, then I'll die poor with a soul intact. That's all right with you. Has to be that way. Just has to be that way. How could you live any other way? You know. So, but yeah, like, so I tweeted this out at the time, and people said to me, like, oh yeah, well, he's against tyranny now, but he had Erdogan as the best man at his wedding. It's like,
as if it matters, like, as if
I know,
it matters.
as if, like,
but he's been wrong in the past. How could he say something right? I don't like him though. I don't like the words he said before.
It's like okay, yeah, all right then. I suppose you're right. Yeah, let's just keep.
Yeah, let's ignore him then. Yeah,
let's
it
just
must
do
be
it then.
sound. That can't be sound then, because he was wrong before, so he must be always wrong. And he said camps are bad. He must always be wrong. Therefore, camps are good. Get him out with this.
So yeah, I just but I honestly saw it. Like, I honestly saw it in real time, and I was like, do we all agree that regardless of the, like, Don't get me started on Erdogan. Like, there was
Isn't
a
it?
show on that, obviously. No one's talking about what he's doing as
But how do people's brains work? They're like,
I know.
someone says a point, and then you go, but he said something I didn't like before, or he said something mental or wrong. Therefore, the correct thing he said now is cancelled out. Like, how does that even work, mate? You're fucked. Like, if you were a machine, we'd have to fucking decode it and figure out what's going wrong in the brain, like, because these fucking wires are cross-contaminated. You're not working right. It's not how brains are supposed to operate.
I guess it's because, again, you know me, I'll blame social media for it. I think it's because we're so used to just arguing about bullshit on social media, just back and forth, arguing about nonsense, that people just go, you know, they're always looking for a gotcha.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're always looking for the
What's
gotcha.
that? You think Ozil's a hero? Well, look at this. I guess you fucking love Erdogan as well, do you?
Yeah,
Look,
exactly.
You caught him. We got him.
It's just social media is a tool where, you know, it's all about the gotcha.
Absolutely.
It's just a weird it's just a weird fucking, you know, kind of mindset that people are in right now. I don't know if we'll ever get rid of it, but it does seem to be like a big, you know, shift. You don't have debates anymore. It's just back and forth whataboutism. You're not even discussing the one topic, the one issue.
Do you reckon it's just because it's easier to find the group where they agree with 99% of the things you say? So therefore, when someone has a tiny disagreement, it seems massive. Because
I
obviously,
think
like,
everybody
in real
is
life,
so obsessed with social media clout and the illusion of celebrity that it gives, that what people do is they go for the gotcha, and then because they know a good gotcha will go viral, so it becomes almost like this. Not Pavlovian, that's the wrong word. You know, when the rat presses the button and it gets the cheese. Is that positive reinforcement?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
I think so.
But anyway,
Pavlovian works both ways, I think.
Yeah. So
reward for
it's
good, yeah.
it's like they there you go. Is it the Skinner's rat experiment?
Skinner.
Yeah, so that's what people, like I said, I don't think Pavlovian's accurate, because Pavlovian is giving you a response in anticipation of something. But anyway, whatever. I'm not a shrink. You know, but anyway, so people do it, and then they go viral, and then it feels good, and then they spend their entire time doing it, and you just see those fucking cunts that just do it all the time. A thread.
Wow.
You know, and it's like, do you have a job? And they don't. They like have these like tragic, worthless lives where they tweet all day. And they tweet all day, gotchas and attacking people and taking clips out of context. And it's just endless back and forth whataboutism. And dude, there's loads of Twitter accounts like this. What was that stupid squirrel one? Or that fucking, what's he called? Classic liberal with the 1s and 3s. A guy who, he spends his time going, look, Paul Joseph Watson is getting things wrong. Yeah, okay, he does. He does that. And then will defend that Talia Lavin for accusing a fucking disabled war veteran of being like a fucking Nazi because he had a cross tattooed on his elbow. And say it's a right-wing talking point to say she's not fit to teach journalism. It's like, who are you cunts? Who are you cunts? And how do you exist like in this world where you're incapable of understanding that you know you cannot just constantly defend your side when they're wrong?
That's what I mean. Like, how does the self-awareness never hit me? Eventually, you just got to be like, I'm just straight swinging from a fence I don't even want to be on anymore. Like, dying on hills I never wanted to be on either.
The self-awareness cannot be. You see, this is what it is. We're deferring self-awareness. That's what social media enables us to do. That's what all of this enables us to do. We're deferring self-awareness. We don't want to sit down and have the fucking point of awakening and realize what the fuck we're doing. That we're sat in a fucking rock, right? Like it's just hurtling through fucking space. We may or may not be fucking killing it, right? We don't know what the fuck is going on, right? Like we're supposedly so far alone in an ever-expanding universe that actually the human condition couldn't matter less in the grand fucking scheme of things. And even people like Carl Sagan down the years like been trying to tell you, yeah, pale blue dot, we don't really fucking matter, guys. And everyone's like, no, definitely all of this is real and it all matters. No one wants to sit down and have the fucking DMT hit of fucking reality that all we're doing is just fucking polishing fucking brass on the Titanic till we eventually fucking drop off. I mean, that's what we're doing, right? And people choose to do it in some like just, I mean, everything's absurd. if you analyze it. But it must be even more absurd to sit there in a castle of lies, of just bullshit. And just every day you wake up, I will not let reality through. Hold the line. Hold the line. It's like, it's okay, dude. It's okay. Like, just let it in.
Just carry on living your life. You ain't got to choose sides on everything, mate. You can just fucking fence it through life. It is that easy. You can straight buggy 2988 through life, mate. Fence it your way through. You ain't got to be taking these mad wars over nothing on Twitter. Why? Why are you spending your life like this?
So, you know, that's what they're doing. They are deferring the self-awareness, because in that moment when it drops and you go, oh my God, it's like, I don't even have the principles that I claim to. What a horrible feeling that must be. You have to go away and you have to assess, you know, like, how are you going to live? How are you going to live the rest of your life knowing that about yourself? And people don't want to do that. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to sit down and actually realize that you are a disgusting liar, a hypocrite, a disappointment. You've fallen short of almost every aspirational goal you ever have. You like to take credit for your own success, but you probably owe it to other people you don't appreciate or treat well enough, people you've let drift out of your fucking life, people who you can barely fucking remember, but hey, I got them on Facebook, so I think we're still in touch. And you're just cruising through this selfish existence without a single moment of self-reflection, because it's scary. It's fucking awful. Give me my social media. Give me my Orange Man bad. But it's okay. It's okay to stare into that fucking abyss, guys. It's fine. It's necessary. You're not alive till you've done it. And all of this distraction and nonsense and embedding yourself into tribes and away from people who are different from you, and grandiose sweeping statements that every moment you live is the most significant moment of all time in any moment in human history. It all boils down to this. It doesn't. You turn to dust and the world keeps fucking turning. That is the nature of humanity. That is our fucking strength and our flaw. It's okay to be imperfect and to analyze why you are. Anyway, back to China and Ricky Gervais, right?
Ricky Gervais, anyway.
So, just wanted to give a special shout out to FC Cologne, a football club that actually did say something. It's significant because it's a German club, and obviously Özil played for Germany. But FC Cologne withdrew running a football academy in China.
Well then,
because on the back of what they did to Mesut Özil and the comments that he made, and Arsenal's pathetic milquetoast response, FC Cologne said, "Well, we're not doing it," and they said in a statement they should not morally support such a totalitarian and brutal dictatorship.
Well then.
All right, let me read you the full bit from this was I think the statement came from the Cologne president, Werner Wolf. But also one of the former board members who just left in the summer and is now back in the club council, so somebody that still shapes the future of the club while not being directly on the board, Stefan Müller-Roma, said, "I understand that Germany can't completely get by without China and that there is an exchange between the two countries, but we don't need China in this sport, and I stand by that. In China, human rights are being massively disregarded. A complete surveillance state is being built, one worse than even George Orwell could have imagined. I have followed developments in China for more than 20 years, and I have been there several times. I know what I'm talking about." The 51-year-old lawyer added, "That is why I'm of the opinion that FC Cologne should not be active there. Making money at any cost is not an option for me. Apart from the fact that it is questionable whether it is possible to make money there, there are more important things than money. And as a non-profit organization that is socially active, we cannot support such a brutal and totalitarian dictatorship." Suck a dick. Why can't more people show that kind of fortitude? Why can't more people in business and sports show that kind of fortitude and show that kind of spine and say what needs to get said? You won't hear fucking a Disney executive saying that anytime soon. You won't hear fucking Apple saying that anytime soon. No, I added the sucker dick bit, guys. Don't attribute the sucker dick to him. That was me. That was all me. Sucker dick, that's all my jam. So anyway, shout out to FC Cologne, but unfortunately, this, I feel like every podcast now I could pull up a story. Here's people pandering to China and let them get away with all this fucked up shit. And especially, it's especially bad in gaming, and it's going to be bad again. Don't. Have we forgotten? Have we forgotten about Activision Blizzard? We really have, by the way. Free Hong Kong was a nice little, nice little hashtag, wasn't it, for a little bit? But doesn't matter now that protesters are still being renditioned and disappeared, and we didn't solve the Uyghur Muslim situation at all. And it's 2020. Leave that shit in the past, man. Don't worry about it. China will come around eventually. They're just standing up to every major corporation, every major power in the world, and doing whatever the fuck they want and violating whatever human right they want to do to get the country they want to have, oppressing their own people to a point of just derangement. And we're all right with doing. Hey, as long as we get our fucking bits and pieces, right? As long as we have an iPhone, right? As long as we have an iPhone, and as long as hey, the game's on. As long as I can buy my cheap fucking merchandise, everything's good, man. It's totally fine. This is all good. This is how it was meant to be, Sam. This was the plan. Right. Well, I don't want to end on a downer. Never do that on this show, right? It's very carefully constructed, basically sandwich. If you look at it this way, we set you all up with a comedy. We go, he's sucking toes, Ricky Gervais.
They're taking organs. They're straight taking organs. Concentration camps. They're taking organs.
Elite power structure. Media lying to you about Epstein. And China is the most powerful nation in the world, and they're oppressing everybody. I'm going to come back up. I'm going to do some comedy. Whee! Let's do some comedy. So what are we gonna do here? How are we gonna end? I think I did promise that we were gonna do some Didn't Happen.
Yeah.
Big fan of Didn't Happens, as you know, on the show. Let me pull out some, because I did put some on one side. There were some outrageous ones. Because we missed the Didn't Happen of the Year awards. For those who don't know, it's a brilliant account. Go follow it. Didn't Happen of the Year awards. It's _DHOTYA. Huge fan of that account. We were doing the Didn't Happen. I didn't even know they existed. They do it way better than we do it. It's like every time I want to do it, it's like, fuck it, they've done it. If someone is telling lies on the telling lies, nah, they got it, mate. They know. They have a bullshit detector like nobody else. So they announced that Didn't Happen of the Year, which I'll show you now if I can get it. It was this one. An Instagram post. Y'all, I love a good y'all. Y'all, my son woke me up out of my sleep crying and said, "Mommy, I know you tired of working, trying to make it better for me and my sister. I'll go to work for you today. This made me cry. He's only one." So I guess what you're supposed to believe there is not only did the child say that, he dressed it. And just look how the child is just full crying, like, why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? Why you dressed me up and took this
shit don't fit. Fuck my god, that's all.
I know, right? So that was the winner. That was 2019's entry, and we're off to a great start. We're off to the races already, actually, as it happens. Let me just find you. The new ones that have been coming out, because I'm telling you, there's some bangers, absolute bangers. And as I said, they run a network of accounts that are essential to my, preserving my sanity. So here you go, right? 2 weeks in, they said, and these are the best entries they've had so far. So bit of a racist entry here, like clearly just a racist man. Decided to do, you know, because we always mock that didn't happen when it's like the lefties and the SJW or whatever the fuck you want to call them, whatever the nomenclature is at the moment. This guy just a racist, clearly. Said, my mate's little daughter actually asked if she had to marry a black man when she gets older. That's what she sees on TV. The power of TV. Well, not only that didn't happen at all, did it? You just wanted to sort of publicly speak about interracial relationships because you're a demented racist cunt. So, good.
His name is Batty Speed, mate.
Yeah, and Batty Speed.
No, not Batty Speed.
But don't worry, obviously, there's an anti-Trump one here. My son and I were in Costco quietly discussing his deployment, obviously in the military, and a woman walked up to us and said, what are you crying about? You won't have any more kids to bother you when he dies, and you'll have his life insurance money. My son had to pull my hand back from her neck. Fuck these maggots. So,
maggots.
The premise of this one, I'm gonna rule this a big didn't happen. The premise of this one is that people were in a store. One of them was about to go away to the military. They were talking about it. Someone overheard it. That conversation, walked up to them and said, "Don't worry, don't be sad. Your son will die soon, and you'll get life insurance from it." You know, people are arseholes. But that just didn't happen, did it? Like no. that just didn't happen. Cost 10k likes because apparently it was a Trump supporter. I don't even know.
Yeah, how do you know? Suddenly, maggots.
Yeah, you maggots. So there was that. There was also this one. This is just another classic, and everybody clapped. This is basically, you know, there's all different. We've been over this many times on the podcast. There's obviously different types of lie that people like to tell. They all go to the same power fantasy, but the everybody clapped one is a very popular breed of that kind of fantasy. So here you go. Currently standing in long post office queue in Glasgow and Sky News on, someone has just shouted out, "Fuck you, Boris Johnson. I never voted for Indy, but no Tory is going to tell my country what to do." Round of applause follows. No, everyone is now verbally ripping the Tories to shreds. Now, what's interesting about this one is they didn't even go the extra way of the lie and say I shouted it. They said someone else. They held back. They held back from living the dream, living the full dream. Now, obviously, again, I've been in many a post office queue, miserable
Nobody
places.
in Scotland have ever applauded for anything either. Like,
true.
There's no way. You'd have to have Billy Connolly and Frankie Boyle down there doing tap dancing while fucking spinning plates, mate, to get an applause out of the Scottish audience for now.
Yeah. So there's already been some good entries there. But anyway, here's what I wanted to bring your attention to. Way back at the start, I said I was going to, do some of these other accounts that they run. And I thought you'd appreciate this. They do one called The State of Selling, @State of Selling. Yeah, The State of Selling. And this is like terrible want ads, like terrible Craigslist advertising, terrible eBay listings, stuff like that. And I saw this one today, Sam. It buckled me, mate. I thought of you straight away, actually. Right? Lovely sequined cushion, unwanted gift. Think it's John Lennon. Not John Lennon. No, definitely not John Lennon. Think it's John Lennon. It's not like 100% not. As well, I do enjoy that. And the other one they do that I like is the state of LinkedIn, and that's what I was talking about right at the start. Now, LinkedIn is a fucking mess. LinkedIn, especially if you work in esports, the level of bullshittery that goes on fucking LinkedIn is unfucking believable. Everyone's an esports consultant with fucking 5,000 years experience. They invented the Nintendo Wii. Fucking somehow
everyone's
that's linked
got
to
SEO
esports.
experience.
Of course. And there's just dozens of these cunts. I've done videos about them. I expose them. You see me arguing with some of them, and it's just insane. So let me bring up this. There was one they posted on New Year's, and mate, I couldn't believe my fucking eyes. It was just the perfect storm of, because you get a lot of people like, so they don't just tell lies, right, about themselves. They also like to tell that there's like some sort of inspirational message behind their belief, and what you should do is be more like them. Be more like them. They have this great philosophy. They have this great outlook. You must absolutely,
because
follow
they follow
the
Gary V on Twitter, and they wake up at 4 a.m. and have a cold shower, and they think they're
exactly.
When really,
and they'll just
living
say
on
mad
bread,
things like, early bird gets the worm might be a cliche, but you'll never see me in bed at 5 a.m. I'm up at the grave. I was like, fuck.
Got a big feeling about the euro, fucking
You're on
yen,
LinkedIn.
forex this month.
I don't see Bloomberg on LinkedIn going, just another fucking update, lads. I don't see any of that.
Early bird gets the worm.
Yeah, early bird gets the worm, lads. Don't see any of that. Anyway, this one just fucking blew my mind, right? This morning at 5:30 a.m., after I returned from 2 days in the mountains with very little sleep.
This guy's already a goofy.
No, but what's beautiful about this is he's posting this on LinkedIn, and it's a massive didn't happen as well. It's got everything. I stopped at Tesco's. I noticed some drama happening by the subway that links Tesco's to Morrison's in Aldershot.
That's pretty close for some fucking supermarkets. They can put a Tesco right next to
Well, don't you remember the Great War of fucking Tesco's and Morrison's over in Aldershot?
Already don't believe you, mate. That don't make no sense.
Yeah, it's like two Sicilian mob families going at it. As I got closer, I realised there were 8 to 10 lads beating up one lad over some girl. I had to intervene. He means to. I stopped, got out, walked over. It was still pitch black except the nearby streetlight that shone through the fog, and it was eerily quiet. As I got closer, I felt my adrenaline rise, my heart beating faster, and I was ready to fight. I approached without saying a word and reached in to grab the victim.
Victim, mate. Yeah, he's grabbed him by the rectum, mate. Victim.
Yeah, mate, the victim. The victimized rectum. It's you wouldn't understand it, Sam. It's police talk.
It's a trade term.
The other lads were somewhat shocked. I dragged him out and put him behind me before telling the others, the fuck off. He really struggles with the word too.
The fuck off!
Yeah. The lad they were beating up was homeless and a cripple.
Fucking picked him up and put him behind you, man.
Not been to a sensitivity workshop either. This relates to yesterday's video, right? So he obviously makes videos on this and
was yesterday's video how to save the homeless, mate? What do you mean?
This relates
to
yesterday's video, battering 10 people at once, right? This relates to yesterday's video and a driven mindset.
Oh my God.
I don't care about the consequences, and I was prepared to accept the risk. I'm glad I did. Risk equals reward. Always help others in need. Flexi arm. Union Jack flag. Hashtag stay strong. It's a belter, isn't it, mate?
Darren Hardy needs piss in his eyes. Like, get the fuck out of my face.
I'm telling you all, everyone's collective box has gone, mate. He's typed it out and pressed enter and gone banging. Like, everyone's going to believe this. Like, everyone.
Absolute crack.
Beyond the joke, you know. What are you going to do?
Driven.
What are you going to do? And I'll do a seminar on this. Fighting between Tesco's and Morrison's in Aldershot. But that is one of the best things. That's one of the best things I've ever seen on LinkedIn. It was wonderful that this was put out right at the fucking, start of the new year. Start us off right. All right, then, Sam, how are we doing for time? I think we're wrapped up. Show's done. About 2 hours, isn't it?
2
done
and
my
a half,
time.
mate, easy.
2.5. Look at that. Boom. He just keeps on going like the fucking Energizer Bunny. He's outrageous. He can rant for days. Gonna have a drink. Sure takes it out of me. I've got some Balvenie left hidden around the back of my laptop because I'm such a fucking chronic alky. I have to have booze for myself, Sam. In case drink.
And you're so wrecked, you do forget where you put it or not?
That's how you have to do it, mate. Good place for beer cans, cistern of a toilet, get them in there. Yeah, you put them in the cistern and the toilet, and then you're having a shit, and you go, oh yeah, there's a beer back there, and you go and you get it out. Perfect. All the tips of the alcoholic trade. Anyway, all that remains to be said. Thanks to everybody that tuned in to the show today. It was good turnout. Me and Sam are going to keep trying to do a regular show. We are going to do a trash talk special at some point.
Yeah.
It's happening. I've talked to
figured
Griff. Obviously, I'm giving everybody all the
When's he
rundown on
back,
content that's coming out. I talked to Griff, nice guy. He's been super busy, but he has said he's going to edit up the Gateshead VODs into a super cut, or maybe 2 or 3 super cuts of the Ricardo Castro adventures in Game of Gateshead. So we'll put that up on the YouTube channel, and no one will watch it except you fucking hardcore cunts that you are. Obviously, appreciate all the subs, all of the donations. Won't lie, extra money is actually a bit of a boost right now with everything. So I do appreciate it. It's gonna find a use. Put it that way. And obviously, shout out to, on that note, .com. Great sponsor. Love working with them. Hope you'll support them for supporting me because they revolutionized what we wanted to do on the YouTube channel and on Twitch. We probably wouldn't have been as prolific as we had been if it hadn't have been for a big sponsor coming in at the time they did. So just support them because they support us. Go to .com/RLS. Sign up there. Be 18+. Bet responsibly. And be sure to tweet at me and them about your experiences on the site. Appreciate everybody for the Twitch Primes. Appreciate you all. I love my community very, very much. Me and Sam will be back in the next day or two talking more shit and breaking down why the world is horrible. Hope you enjoyed it. You take care of yourselves until we see you next time. Peace.